guidance, Lu Yu descended into the cavern where the long-range cannons were concealed. This location was exceedingly discreet, and even Lu Yu had been unaware of its existence within his own domain. The 200 long-range cannons were arranged in perfect order, and Lu Yu could sense the immense power they contained. He summoned the Little Abyss. First, reinforce these 200 long-range cannons. Shortly, we shall find a place to test their might. In Chapter 413, within the cavern, the Little Abyss commenced the enhancement of the long-range cannons. Unlike the enhancement of an AK, it was unable to amplify them all at once, but could only enhance them one by one. Fortunately, the time required to enhance each Great Wall cannon was brief. Within less than 2 hours, all 200 cannons were fully upgraded. Yeshawu, who observed in astonishment, exclaimed, "Brother Yu, the power of these Great Wall cannons must rival that of Dongfeng Express now, wouldn't you agree?" Lu Yu gently patted the muzzle of one of the cannons, its robust opening wide enough to accommodate a person entirely. It was comparable to the firepower wielded by Miss Chiu in days gone by. With a sharp intake of breath, Yeshawu remarked, "Have we truly fashioned a nuclear weapon in the abyss? Who shall we target next?" This posed an intriguing question. Whom should they practice against? Suddenly, a system notification interrupted their contemplation. Players from the Aoshi Alliance, Aoshi, Xingtian, have activated the Stag Order. The territory of Lingfeng City, Zone 005, has been refreshed, and the Stag competition will commence in 1 hour. Just as they pondered their next move, an opportunity presented itself. However, Lu Yu was puzzled as to why Lingfeng City had advanced to its 5th territory. He turned to Yeshawu and inquired, "Have there been other territorial contests during this period?" Brother Yu, haven't you seen the messages I've sent you?" Yeshawu replied. Lu Yu was taken aback. His messages had been perpetually at 999, and he often overlooked such reports without a glance. Has something significant occurred in Lingfeng City recently? A few days ago, with our assistance, the Huan Alliance and the Champion Alliance secured territories 002 and 003 respectively. The 004 territory was too remote, leading to a lack of interest in competing, which allowed the Fengyue Alliance to claim it. Oh, Lu Yu nodded, having recently focused his attention on the Dragon Domain Great Wall project concerning the natural tribe. The petty squabbles within the human factions had ceased to capture his interest. To put it bluntly, even if all players in Lingfeng City were to converge against him, Lu Yu could effortlessly achieve a flawless counterattack. He could indiscriminately slay opponents in a field of corpses averaging level 70, let alone the ordinary players, who merely averaged in the 40s. Although many mainstream players had completed their first transition, it was merely the first. Lu Yu opened the map to locate the refreshed Zone 005 territory. He might choose to abstain from other faction contests, but he felt compelled to support the Aoshi Alliance's territory, for it would be a disservice to Aoshi, Xingtian, and Xiaochuan otherwise. On the map, a region adjacent to Lingfeng City was marked, indicating Zone 005. It must be said that the location of this territory was nearly ideal for any guild. Proximity to a secondary main city ensured convenient access, with no formidable wild monsters within a 3-kilometer radius, while the outskirts were home to high-level creatures. Lu Yu gazed upon it with envy. The proximity to the secondary main city was particularly significant for a territory. After all, not every guild leader can summon a master of formations to construct a teleportation array for their territory. The sole drawback may lie in the fact that the primary city has already been activated. High-level players do not linger in the secondary city for long. Although new players continuously arrive, there will also be casual gamers who do not relish combat and leveling, remaining in the secondary city. Yet, they are far from the mainstream. Ultimately, one must blame Lu Yu for this situation. No one anticipated his rapid ascent in levels. It is worth noting that had he not forcibly reached level 80, the activation of the primary city would have been delayed by at least 6 months. The transition from level 79 to 80 is a formidable threshold. Lu Yu summoned a skeletal general to propel the Great Wall cannons towards territory number 005. The weaponry cannot be stored in a backpack, which is its most significant drawback. Perhaps Duan Shuchen could devise some portable versions of certain weapons, but the Great Wall cannons are evidently not among them. Hence, to transport the cannons to the battlefield, one must resort to the most primitive methods. However, Lu Yu is not lacking in manpower. Moving a few cannons is a trivial task for him. Of the 200 Great Wall cannons, he only took 10. He is not heading to battle against other races. 10 cannons should suffice for claiming territory. From the Abyss territory to territory number 005, Lu Yu can arrive in less than half an hour on his dragon. However, considering the weight of the Great Wall cannons, and the need to discreetly transport them without drawing attention, the journey is expected to take at least 2 hours. By that time, the Battle of the Stag should still be ongoing. Even if it concludes, Lu Yu can prolong it at will. His purpose for this expedition is to test the cannons. It would be unacceptable to finish without firing even a single shot. It is akin to the Qixi festival, where one has enjoyed a movie with their girlfriend, a candlelit dinner, and purchased a handbag, only for her to declare it is time to go home. Such a lack of understanding would be disheartening. To allow other guilds to seize the territory without concern, Lu Yu did not ride his dragon but donned a golden mask, stealthily approaching territory number 005. The Guild of Non-Conflict had already assembled the Lord of the Abyss. Since they intended to participate in the battle, It was essential to have their own members present to support them. Territory number 005 had already been earmarked for the Lord of the Abyss. Lu Yu perched atop a large tree, observing the distant territorial skirmish. After witnessing large-scale battles between races, the minor skirmishes between guilds felt rather trivial. Nevertheless, it must be said that the Alliance of Pride is quite formidable. Currently, the Lord of the Abyss has not joined the fray, and both the Huan Alliance and the Champions Alliance have established their own territories, sending only 1 or 2 sub-guilds to join the fray symbolically. Among the remaining major alliances, the Alliance of Pride possesses the greatest strength. In just 1 hour, the Alliance of Pride secured the land deed, firmly grasped in the hands of Ao Shi and Xing Tian. The upcoming Battle of the Stags is set to last merely 2 hours, and in less than half an hour, the Alliance of the Proud World shall seize the 005 territory. At that very moment, a battalion of skeleton generals arrived, pushing the Great Wall Cannon forward. Accompanying them were several thousand members of the Abyssal Lords, led by the uncontentious. Though their numbers were few, they were all elite warriors, including the original 96 who had joined first. Leader, Qiangu has announced that the 005 territory is already ours. We were summoned primarily to serve as a ceremonial guard. Is it truly this effortless? It hardly demonstrates our strength, spoke Pafu Qinzhou. As he voiced his thoughts, a few others chimed in. Indeed, leader. At the very least, allow us to slay a few of those proud world curs. My spear is eager for battle. Observing their fervent enthusiasm, Lu Yu felt a surge of excitement as well. Fear not, I shall refrain from intervening. After I fire 10 shots, you may charge in. Understood. Just watch us, leader. The group began to prepare eagerly. Lu Yu then unveiled the canvas covering the Great Wall Cannon, revealing 10 gleaming artillery pieces that were rolled out. Chapter 414. The power of a single shot. What might be the power of the Great Wall Cannon, enhanced 100-fold, Lu Yu could not ascertain. However, adhering to humanitarian principles, he decided to issue a notice prior to firing. System announcement. Player Qingzhou announces to all players contesting for the 005 territory. Upon hearing this announcement, please vacate the battlefield and return to the city immediately. The 005 territory has been reserved by the Abyssal Lords. I shall commence comprehensive fire coverage in 9 seconds. Exiting combat and utilizing a return scroll will require at least 10 seconds. The sudden system announcement left the players embroiled in fierce combat, momentarily stunned. Wasn't the Abyssal Lords already in possession of territory? Why were they still intervening? Moreover, what did comprehensive fire coverage entail? Even if Qin Jiao possessed a bone dragon, the vast territory meant that a single dragon's breath would inflict minimal damage in the grand scheme of things. Did he believe he was deploying a nuclear strike? Comprehensive fire coverage indeed. Xing Tian of the Proud World furrowed his brow. The participation of the Abyssal Lords was unforeseen, especially with Qin Jiao personally involved. However, with just 5 minutes remaining until the Battle of the Stags concluded, even Qin Jiao would find it challenging to snatch the deed within that time frame. No matter. It is not a significant issue, he reassured himself. After issuing the announcement, Lu Yu glanced at the countdown. 9, 8, 7, 3, 2, 1. Time's up. Fire. The first Great Wall Cannon erupted with a thunderous roar, a shell soaring directly toward the location of the 005 territory. Following a brief silence, boom. A mushroom cloud blossomed above the 005 territory. The entire expanse was reduced to rubble, as countless beams of light surged toward the spring waters of Lingfeng City. In a radius of several miles, not a single living creature remained. Lu Yu licked his lips, astonished that after a 100-fold enhancement, the Great Wall Cannon possessed such terrifying power. It required no second shot to conclude the battle. The might of this weapon was such that even the Thunderbone Dragon would likely suffer grievously from a single strike. The members of the Abyssal Lords exchanged glances, having previously mused that they could seize the spoils after 10 shots. Yet, as it transpired, one shot obliterated everything, leaving no opportunity for looting. Was their own faction truly so formidable? If this was the case, might they contemplate conquering a secondary stronghold and transforming it into new territory for the Abyssal Lords? Stunned into silence, the once indifferent members of the faction reeled at the reality of the situation. Earlier, when discussing Miss Chiu, they had thought it all a jest. Now, it seemed the jest had grown rather serious. However, one quickly regained composure. What are we dawdling for? We must retrieve the land deed. If we don't secure it before the conclusion of the stag hunt, Territory 005 will be wiped from existence. The group sprang into action, racing toward Territory 005. Upon the death of a player holding a land deed, it would randomly respawn within the territorial bounds. Thousands scoured the few square kilometers as the countdown to the stag hunt dwindled away. Just as 10 seconds remained, the pure-hearted youth suddenly spotted a half-buried land deed. System prompt. The stag hunt for Territory 005 has concluded. Player, pure-hearted youth, has acquired the land deed and become the lord of this territory. Big brother. Hee. The pure-hearted youth bounced over to Lu Yu, presenting the deed. Big brother, what shall we do with this territory? Let us put it to good use. At the moment of seizing Territory 005, Lu Yu had already envisioned its purpose. The Abyss had been operational for nearly 3 months, and the pace of progress this time was significantly accelerated. With the abyss looming ever closer, the human race remained disunited. They could not rely solely on Lu Yu to face the alien races. Now, it may be time to begin establishing a human alliance, using Territory 005 as the headquarters. Coincidentally, they were also on the verge of toppling the Nature Clan, and if various factions could join forces, the efficiency would undoubtedly increase immensely. Lu Yu discussed the matter with Li Wei, who unexpectedly offered enthusiastic support. The Huan Alliance had long been preparing for this initiative. However, it was clear that Lu Yu's proposal for the alliance was far more credible. The title of the foremost human faction carried more weight than that of the Huan Bureau. Lu Yu also conferred with Du Guohua, Huanglong, and several other well-connected factions, all of whom expressed strong support for the endeavor. Although everyone among them, except for Du Guohua, was unaware of the truth behind the abyss, they were not foolish. Ever since the advent of the game, the peculiar reactions from the upper echelons of society had prompted them to sense something amiss. Particularly notable was Du Guohua, the former tycoon who had invested all his assets into the abyss without the slightest intention of reaping any tangible benefits that could influence reality. This behavior had sent alarm bells ringing in the minds of many astute observers. Now, the foremost figure of the human race called for the establishment of an alliance. Regardless of the underlying motives, the priority was simply to join. Under the shade of a great tree, one finds solace. Many hands make light work when the sky falls. There will be tall individuals to bear the burden. With such thoughts in mind, all those whom Lu Yu contacted expressed strong support. Consequently, an announcement regarding the formation of the Human Alliance was released. Any guild willing to join the alliance could attend the founding ceremony in Territory No. 005 before noon the following day and sign the alliance charter. As for the contents of the charter, Lu Yu dismissed the matter, believing that a peaceful approach would yield better results than his own efforts. As soon as the announcement was made, several major alliances such as the Huan Alliance, Champion Alliance, and the Mad Dragon Guild promptly issued statements of support. In no time, the World Channel was abuzz with news of the Human Alliance. Lu Yu perused a couple of messages before decisively shutting down the chat. The influx of information was overwhelming. Just as he was about to close the panel, a friend request popped up. The player Pure-Hearted Little Girl requested to add you as a friend. Pure-Hearted Little Girl? Wasn't that the name of a well-known blogger on the forum? Was it truly her, or merely an imposter? After a moment's hesitation, Lu Yu decided to accept the request. Big Brother Qingjiu, your Great Wall Cannon may be in jeopardy. The Umbral clan has witnessed the might of the Great Wall Cannon and will soon dispatch individuals to covertly dismantle it. I am not referring to those you have displayed openly, but rather the 200 hidden in the underground. Chapter 415, Abyss Assassin? Lu Yu's heart raced upon reading the message. How did she know about the Great Wall Cannons in the underground? The location of the underground hideout was something even Lu Yu had initially been unaware of, yet now it was being disclosed with such ease. However, Lu Yu was now convinced that this newly added friend was most likely the genuine pure-hearted little girl. Regular visitors to the forum knew that she always managed to obtain first-hand information swiftly and accurately. Lu Yu found this astonishing. But the fact that the information pertained to him elicited a complex mix of embarrassment, discomfort, and gratitude for her timely warning. He had come to trust that what pure-hearted little girl said was indeed true. The Umbral clan, the foremost among the four great races, had remained silent since the death of the son of the Abyss, which was decidedly abnormal. The Shadow clan has lurked among humans for many years, with both the leader and the foremost warrior of the Proud Alliance being of the Shadow profession. It is inconceivable to Lu Yu that there are no spies among the humans. Do you know their plans to dismantle the Great Wall Cannon? Who have they sent? As Lu Yu typed a response to the innocent young girl, he swiftly sent a message to Qin Zhu. Zhu, you must immediately relocate to the castle. Ensure that trustworthy brothers from the Alliance patrol around the clock without any blind spots. I will return shortly to protect you. In such dire circumstances, Lu Yu's first priority was not to safeguard the Great Wall Cannon, but to protect Qin Zhu and the others. The Great Wall Cannon can be rebuilt, but if Qin Zhu and the rest were to perish, they would be irretrievably lost. Understood, brother Yu, Qin Zhu replied without further inquiry, acknowledging the gravity of the situation. Lu Yu rarely exhibited such seriousness, and when he did, Qin Zhu recognized the critical nature of the matter. There was no time for questions, action was imperative. With a wave of his hand, all summoned beasts returned to their summoning space, and he attempted to use a return scroll. System notification. The teleportation array bound to your scroll has become inactive. The return scroll cannot be used. Damn. It seemed the Shadow clan had already arrived, disrupting the teleportation array and severing the passageways. Lu Yu seized the innocent youth and the dreamlike Jiangnan, leaping onto the back of a skeletal dragon. The two skeletal dragons soared into the sky, hastening towards the abyssal territory. Lu Yu remotely commanded all summoned beasts remaining in the territory to cease construction and all other activities, focusing all efforts on protecting Qin Zhu and the others. At this moment, reliance on others was futile. The only dependable allies were the 100 loyal summoned beasts. The innocent young girl responded. The information I can see indicates that the Shadow clan has dispatched at least one abyssal profession, skilled in stealth and assassination. However, I cannot ascertain any further details for now. Skilled in stealth and assassination, an assassin? But wasn't the slot for an assassin class in the Abyss already claimed by the innocent youth? Although she was an abyssal shadow assassin, a variant of the assassin profession. Theoretically, there should be no second assassin class among the abyssal professions. Moreover, Liu noted another point from the young girl's message. She mentioned seeing. If this was not her habitual way of speaking, it implied she had witnessed certain scenes firsthand to acquire that information. The Great Wall Cannon in the underground was classified information, and the Shadow Clan's dispatch of an abyssal profession would also be highly confidential. How had the innocent young girl seen it? After becoming friends, Liu could now access her information, which indicated her profession was simply an ordinary mage, not an abyssal profession. Could it be that she possessed an abyssal artifact? In truth, if one were to scrutinize closely, items such as the AK and the Great Wall Cannon, enhanced by the Minor Abyss, could also be considered abyssal artifacts. However, the current level of the Little Abyss is certainly incomparable to that of her mother. An exceptional abyss artifact can even exert the influence of an abyss profession. If the innocent young girl possessed such an abyss artifact, it would indeed elucidate her ability to acquire so many clandestine messages. My sincere gratitude. I shall repay you handsomely in the future. Yet, this is not the moment to focus on the innocent young girl. The priority lies in how to counter the ambush of the Nether Clan. Another abyss profession has emerged, undoubtedly starting at the second transition, and it specializes in stealth and assassination. Just contemplating this gives Liu a headache. Previously, when collaborating with Sun Hanyu and others to deal with two abyss professions from the Goblin Clan, Liu had garnered some experience in confronting abyss professionals. However, if this time the adversary is an abyss assassin, one must consider the innocent young girl. Although her strength may seem average, she is undeniably an entity not to be underestimated. Once she enters stealth, no one can discern her location, and she may unexpectedly strike from behind. Who could withstand such an assault? Allowing such a profession to sabotage the Great Wall Cannons is akin to letting a specialist perform their duty. Brother, what on earth is happening? The innocent young girl, still in a state of confusion after being pulled onto the dragon's back, hesitated to inquire further as she observed Liu diligently responding to messages. It was only now that she mustered the courage to speak. There is a Nether Clan professional proficient in stealth and assassination who threatens to destroy the Great Wall Cannons within our territory. However, I suspect that its true objective is not merely the cannons. The teleportation array in the territory has already been compromised. The innocent young girl took a deep breath and cautiously asked, an abyss assassin profession? Liu nodded, skilled in stealth and assassination. It is quite likely. The innocent young girl tightened her grip on her dagger. Brother Yu, we have been relocated to the castle, and I have cleared it of all unrelated individuals. The brothers in the Alliance are patrolling outside, and within the castle, your summoned beasts have not detected any anomalies. Upon reading Qinzhu's message, Liu felt a slight sense of relief. The most crucial individuals had been safeguarded for the time being. Even if that assassin were to destroy all 200 Great Wall Cannons now, Liu would not feel as pained. Brother, this is insufficient. Have Brother Zhu seal off their surroundings, ensuring that no one can glimpse them from outside the castle. Simultaneously, fill the castle with items that can produce noise as much as possible, the innocent young girl interjected, observing Liu's dialogue with Qinzhu. Liu swiftly relayed the young girl's words verbatim to Qinzhu. The Abyss Shadow Assassin possesses the most profound understanding of Abyss Assassins. Thus, the insights provided by the innocent young girl are the most valuable. For the innocent young girl to defend against the Abyss Assassin from the Nether Clan, one need only consider how to defend against herself. The skeletal dragon soared through the air, leaving behind a series of afterimages. With the utmost haste, Liu sped back to the Abyss territory, yet a few minutes remained. He could sense the tension coursing through him, ever since he had tamed the Bone Dragon. This was the first time he felt such anxiety. During his previous encounters with the Bone King, he had not experienced this emotion. Suddenly, a jolt of fear struck Liu. Chapter 416, The Abyss Assassin. Several summoned beasts left in the cave had perished. They had seen nothing before their demise, indicating that the assailant had been in a state of stealth. The members of the Nether Clan had indeed ventured into the cave. The 200 wall cannons were in jeopardy. Liu found himself torn between anger and relief. The Abyss Assassin was likely dismantling the wall cannons. Yet this also implied that Qinzhu and the others were currently safe. Perhaps the primary target of the Abyss Assassin was Qinzhu and his companions. But due to Liu's quick reaction, the assassin was left with no opportunity to strike, and thus altered its objective. Liu focused intently on the map. He was drawing ever closer to the Abyss territory. If possible, he aimed to trap the Abyss Assassin within the cave. An assassin capable of roaming freely posed a significant threat to Liu. There was no wisdom in a 1,000-day vigilance against thieves. Mount Falling Phoenix had come into view. He deftly guided the Bone Dragon towards the cave's entrance. As he neared the cave, the sounds of explosions reached his ears. The Nether Clan member was indeed still present. The Bone Dragon landed at the cave's mouth. Upon entering, Liu's first action was to release the Little Abyss, allowing it to open a passage and block the cave's exit. On the other side of this passage lay the birthplace of the Little Abyss. Should the Nether Clan member dare to venture inside, it would be a dead end. As Liu and his companions entered the cave, the explosions gradually subsided. Approximately 100 meters ahead was the storage area for the wall cannons, where dozens had already been rendered inoperative. However, apart from the cannons, Liu could see no one else. The Nether Clan member had once again entered a state of stealth, accompanied by the innocent youth who had also become invisible. At this moment, 4 individuals occupied the cave. Liu Yu and Ru Ming Jiang Nan were in the light, while the innocent youth and the Nether Clan member lurked in the shadows. This was an intangible struggle. For the Nether Clan member, he was effectively trapped. Unless he killed Liu Yu, escape was impossible. Liu Yu's singular objective was to capture this Nether Clan member alive. This assassin was neither an abyss archer nor an abyss painter. While both classes possessed formidable destructive capabilities, they were in the open and could be guarded against. The abyss assassin, however, was the true enigma. Even if he were sent back to the Nether Clan, one could never be assured of safety. Who could tell when he might return to stealth once more? Long before their journey commenced, Liu Yu had already devised a strategy with the innocent youth and others. Ru Ming Jiang Nan would keep a vigilant eye on both Liu Yu and herself. Should they come under attack, she would immediately restore her health. The possibility of being instantaneously killed was not a concern, for the innocent youth, also an assassin class in the Abyss, was unlikely to pose a significant threat, and the Abyssal Assassin would probably be no different. Moreover, even if that assassin possessed the capability to execute a lethal strike, Ru Ming Jiang Nan could resurrect herself, thereby saving Liu Yu. As for the prospect of Ru Ming Jiang Nan being slain in one blow, what a jest. After her first transformation, her health and shield became astonishingly robust. The Thunderbone Dragon's mighty thunderous assault would not be sufficient to vanquish her swiftly. The innocent youth similarly focused on Liu Yu and Ru Ming Jiang Nan, ready to retaliate with a backstab the moment an attack was initiated, first marking that assassin. Simultaneously, the innocent youth had to remain vigilant of the Great Wall Cannon. Any sign of movement or activation would prompt immediate action. The cannon's devastating power could obliterate a significant portion of the abyssal territory with a single shot. If utilized within the cave, the user would undoubtedly face dire consequences. The Spectral Clan would seldom resort to such drastic measures, yet one must always guard against a cornered foe. As for Liu Yu, he aimed to lure that Spectral Clan member out. Since the massive bone dragon could not enter the cave, he would need to coax Little Green outside. Just as Liu Yu prepared to summon, he suddenly noticed signs of movement several meters ahead. This assassin's stealth was not entirely undetectable. This was a stark contrast to the innocent youth. As long as it was not completely undetectable, Liu Yu could trace the assassin's movements. He had previously discerned the stealthy tracks of the innocent youth at the general's tomb, when she had aimed to assassinate him, lacking the undetectable talent granted by her first transformation. Now, having detected the traces of stealth again, Liu Yu felt a mix of surprise and delight. An assassin whose silhouette could be captured was far easier to deal with than the innocent youth. However, if this assassin's stealth could be uncovered, could it be that he was not truly an Abyss class, and that the genuine Abyss class resided elsewhere? There was no time to ponder such questions. He needed to deal with the immediate threat first. In this place, Liu Yu dared not employ his Divine Flame skills, for if he triggered the Great Wall Cannon, the entire abyssal territory would be torn asunder. With a swift motion, Liu Yu cast a rockfall spell, targeting the location of the footsteps. The boulder plummeted, and the assassin swiftly evaded. Yet, this rapid movement rendered his footsteps even more conspicuous. Although such subtle changes might not be significant to the majority of players, both the innocent youth and Ru Ming Jiang Nan were among the most elite. This slight alteration had already captured their attention. Without hesitation, the innocent youth launched her backstab, only for a prominent miss to appear. As the innocent youth executed his backstab, the assassin sensed something amiss and retaliated with a backstab of his own. His target was none other than Ru Ming Jiang Nan. The dagger pierced through the protective shield surrounding Ru Ming Jiang Nan, plunging directly into his heart. An astonishingly high damage figure emerged above Ru Ming's struggling form. His body collapsed, transforming into a beam of light as it soared towards the fountain. A one-hit kill. This abyssal assassin possessed the ability to eliminate Ru Ming Jiang Nan in a single blow. This revelation astonished everyone present. However, the event had transpired, and shock served no purpose. The innocent youth vanished once more, striking again. Thanks to the effects of his equipment, he could execute 2 consecutive backstabs, a feat the abyssal assassin clearly could not replicate. The dagger sunk into his back, revealing the silhouette of the abyssal assassin. Dark Cloud, profession, abyssal assassin race, nether race level, 100. It was indeed an abyssal assassin. Previously, the reference to this nether race as an abyssal assassin was merely a designation assigned by Liu Yu based on his characteristics. In Liu Yu's understanding, it was impossible for 2 abyssal professions to coexist. Yet now, the existence of an abyssal assassin stood plainly before him. Why were there truly 2 assassin-type abyssal professions? Chapter 417. The other half the confusion in Liu Yu's mind flitted away in an instant, as he promptly set it aside. In combat, distraction is perilous, especially against an opponent of the abyssal profession. Even with an absolute advantage, one must never let their guard down. Bone worms surged forth like a flood, all crawling towards Dark Cloud. With a previous depletion, the 200 million bone worms had dwindled to mere tens of millions. However, within the confines of this small cave, tens of millions were more than sufficient. Dark Cloud, having been backstabbed by the innocent youth, could no longer elude capture. The dense swarm of bone worms descended upon him, sending a shiver down his spine. He was left with two choices: either force his way through the ocean of bone worms to reach the Great Wall Cannon, risking mutual destruction, or attempt to escape through the cave's entrance, seeking a chance for survival. The first option was almost certainly fatal. Even if he could carve a path through the swarm, Lu Yu and the other assassin would be waiting nearby. He would likely perish before ever nearing the Great Wall Cannon. After a moment's hesitation, Dark Cloud chose the second option and fled the cave. Though the entrance was shrouded in darkness, obscuring any obstacles, it was still preferable to certain death. Observing Dark Cloud's choice, Lu Yu exhaled in relief. He had genuinely feared that Dark Cloud would resolutely choose to perish alongside him. While Dark Cloud could embrace a fatalistic determination, Lu Yu, on the other hand, wished to avoid such a fate. Allowing the young abyssal to claim him would yield the best outcome. Dark Cloud approached the cave's entrance with remarkable speed, preparing to devise a means of escape. To his astonishment, he discovered that the shadow blocking the entrance was moving closer to him of its own accord. What on earth could this be? It was a dark mass, obscuring any glimpse of what lay within, lacking any identifiable traits of a known race. Its mere gaze elicited an unsettling sensation, as if the shadow was equally scrutinizing him. At that moment, Yu Yin felt a pang of regret for his choice. Had he opted to confront the situation head-on, it might have yielded a more favorable outcome. Yet, the decision had already been made, and it was too late for remorse. Even if he wished to retreat, there was no opportunity to approach the artillery near the Great Wall. He had no choice but to press on with determination. Calculating the cooldown time, Yu Yin prepared to launch a backstab at the small abyss. However, he was soon met with a system notification. The selected target was invalid, and the backstab failed. Yu Yin was taken aback. What was this entity? Why did it possess an effect that rendered it unselectable? According to his plan, if he could execute the backstab and maneuver behind the shadow, he would then make a safe escape from the pit. Yet, the first step of his strategy had already faltered. Behind him, Lu Yu approached, accompanied by countless bone insects, moving at a deliberately slow pace. At this moment, Lu Yu was unhurried, even opting to slow his advance. Yu Yin was now akin to a fish in a barrel, while Lu Yu's intent was to capture him alive. Ideally, he hoped Yu Yin would unwittingly walk into the mouth of the small abyss, thus avoiding a confrontation that might lead to Yu Yin's demise. Panic began to swell in Yu Yin's heart. As a denizen of the abyss, he should not become a summoned creature of Qing Jiu even upon death. However, his abyssal assassin was incomplete. With Qing Jiu's level having reached 85, it was theoretically plausible that she had undergone her second-class transition. Whether a second-tier abyss summoner possessed the ability to subdue abyss professions remained a mystery. Yu Yin dared not gamble on it. This was the very reason he had refrained from a head-on clash earlier. With no other options, he resolved to take a leap of faith. Gritting his teeth, he plunged into the small abyss. Upon witnessing this, Lu Yu felt a wave of relief wash over him. The other side of the small abyss was its birthplace, accessible only to itself. Anyone else who ventured in would meet certain death. Once Yu Yin collided with it, the small abyss promptly sealed its entrance, trapping him within. Lu Yu waved his hand, and the bone insects returned to the summoning space. Brother, is it over? Yes, it is over. How is Dream Jiangnan faring? Is everything alright? Little Jiangnan is still en route. Should I tell her to hold back? Either way is fine. She may come if she wishes. The swiftness with which this battle concluded took everyone by surprise. Previously, when facing abyss professions, all had been on high alert, understanding that without their utmost efforts, victory was unattainable. This time, although the character of Dreaming Jiangnan met his demise, it was due to the inherent proficiency of the assassin profession in executing stealthy strikes. Nevertheless, in comparison to previous battles, this encounter could be described as rather effortless. Even the innocent youth felt as though he had not exerted his full capabilities. The matter concerning the ominous cloud could not remain unresolved for long. After a brief moment of contemplation, Lu Yu addressed the abyssal entity. Little Abyss, please consume the individual from earlier. The one devoured by Little Abyss cannot be resurrected. Although this would result in the loss of an abyssal profession, it would eliminate any future threats. Upon hearing Lu Yu's command, Little Abyss exhibited palpable excitement. To consume an abyssal profession is a great boon. Master, is this truly your wish? Are you genuinely allowing me to devour him? No more chatter, proceed swiftly. Understood. In an instant, Little Abyss fell into a profound silence. Moments later, its body trembled, indicating that the absorption had been completed. All done, let us depart. This cavern is no longer safe. I must relocate the Great Wall artillery hidden here. As Liu spoke, he prepared to summon his familiar to assist in moving the artillery, only to suddenly notice that Little Abyss remained motionless. What is the matter? Master, there is something I must discuss. Little Abyss appeared hesitant and conflicted. What is it? Lu Yu curiously scrutinized Little Abyss's demeanor. This was the first time it had taken the initiative to bring forth a matter. Previously, he had always approached Little Abyss to enhance items. After absorbing the energy of that underworld creature, I extracted a fragment of power that I am unable to assimilate. And then, although I cannot absorb this power, I can bestow it upon another. What kind of power? Lu Yu's curiosity was piqued, and he sensed an underlying significance. Little Abyss directed its focus toward the innocent youth. This power should belong to her other half. Lu Yu had previously contemplated inquiring about the innocent youth's lack of strength, but was deterred by Little Abyss, who was well aware of her predicament. Other half. Indeed. While she possesses remarkable stealth and status activation abilities, her output is significantly lacking. This fragment of power would enhance the damage output of assassin-type abyssal professions. In an instant, Lu Yu recalled the scene where the ominous cloud annihilated dreaming Jiangnan in a single blow. The output was undeniably formidable. If granted to the innocent youth, it would undoubtedly elevate her abilities by several tiers. Nonetheless, Lu Yu still inquired, is there any danger involved? There is no danger whatsoever. This power is rightfully hers. Lu Yu turned to the innocent youth. What are your thoughts? I will follow my brother's guidance. Although the innocent youth verbally affirmed this, the eagerness and desire reflected in her eyes unmistakably conveyed her true feelings. All right, then return this power to her. I, too, wish to witness the true form of the abyssal shadow assassin in her complete state. Chapter 418. Complete form according to the original intentions of the Little Abyss. She truly did not wish to relinquish this power. The strength of the Abyss could enhance her abilities, yet it was quite limited when in her mother's possession. It would be best to keep it hidden. However, despite her numerous attempts, she could not absorb this power. Rather than waste it, it would be more prudent to offer it to her master as a token of loyalty, should she find herself in peril in the future. Perhaps her master would spare her life in gratitude for this gesture. Upon receiving Lu Yu's command, the Little Abyss exhaled a vague orb of light and shadow from her mouth. There was no intention to aim, yet the light instinctively followed its course, drifting towards the innocent youth. Ah, how delightful. Brother, I can hardly bear it. This sensation is utterly exhilarating. Lu Yu remarked, this young lady is rather exaggerated, isn't she? It's merely a bit of impact. Why does it seem akin to something inappropriate for children? Master, is it not an inappropriate time for me to arrive? Ru Meng Jiangnan stood at the entrance, hands covering her eyes, then cautiously peeking through a narrow gap between her fingers. Lu Yu replied, no? I am still 2 meters away from the innocent youth. Why are you covering your face? There's nothing happening here. You're making it seem as though I'm indulging in something illicit. Hey, enough already. Otherwise, I shall take my leave and let you enjoy this moment alone. The innocent youth quickly regained composure, casting a resentful glance at Lu Yu. Brother, you lack a sense of romance. I have made such an effort to express myself. Yet you remain stoic. Lu Yu shot her a glance, but remained silent. Had it not been for Ru Meng Jiangnan's appearance, he might have nearly lost control. Resisting the urge to chastise the innocent youth, he thought to himself that this young lady was perpetually in a state of excitement. As a normal young man, Lu Yu found it disingenuous to claim he had no desires, especially when tempted daily. If he were to falter and make a mistake, it would undoubtedly mar his life. Have you completed the absorption? How is your aptitude now? Exceedingly well. The innocent youth appeared quite exhilarated, ignoring defenses, shields, and all forms of protective talents. Her abilities and skills inflicted greater damage on targets with thicker health bars. Although not percentage-based damage, it was nearly equivalent, with a certain probability of instant annihilation. The innocent youth had distilled the essence of this enhancement. As an assassin, she had previously only assumed a supportive role. This left her, as an abyssal profession, feeling quite aggrieved. Today, she had finally undergone her transformation. In the future, when confronting formidable foes, she would stand on her own as a principal force. For instance, the abyssal painter, whose pride lay in his defensive black ink, can now be disregarded entirely, as 2 swift strikes can dispatch him effortlessly. Nodding in agreement at the innocent youth's description, Lu Yu recognized this as the quintessential output expected from an assassin. He had previously sensed something amiss with the youth's abyssal class, realizing that it lacked half of its potential. Now, with that deficiency rectified, the true prowess of an abyssal profession had been achieved. Yet, amidst his elation, another query arose within Lu Yu's mind. Why were the capabilities of the abyssal assassin divided in such a manner? Was this division intentional by the Abyss, or had some unforeseen error occurred? If it were the latter, what could be the cause of such a discrepancy? Did this issue solely afflict the abyssal assassin class, or were other professions similarly affected? Unable to restrain his curiosity, Lu Yu cast a glance at Ru Meng Jiangnan. The healing capacity of the saintly hand class was on par with that of the Abyss, yet it was conspicuously absent from the ranks of abyssal professions. This line of thought led Lu Yu to contemplate the current state of humanity. Theoretically, there should exist 10 abyssal professions or items among the human race. Even including the somewhat uncertain innocent little girl, only 3 were accounted for. The Abyss had been open for 3 months, and with even the first-tier main city now operational, it was reasonable to expect that if there were other abyssal professions, they would have emerged by now. Even if they were not as remarkable as Lu Yu, there should have been a flourishing of talent, a cacophony of astonishing abilities. A bold conjecture began to form in Lu Yu's mind. However, if things truly aligned with his speculation, he shook his head. Regardless, everything was progressing in a positive direction. Even if the situation were as he feared, Lu Yu felt no trepidation. What rightly belonged to humanity would ultimately return to its hands. You shall bear greater responsibilities henceforth, Lu Yu remarked to the innocent youth, realizing that certain matters no longer necessitated his direct involvement. I will heed my elder brother. Whatever he commands, I shall comply. Whatever task he assigns, I shall undertake. Stop. Stop. Lu Yu interjected hastily, preventing the innocent youth from rambling further. If given the chance to speak, she would undoubtedly leave him speechless once more. Let us proceed. We must first deliberate on the placement of the Great Wall cannons. Lu Yu sent a message to Chenju, informing him that the danger had temporarily subsided and work could resume. The destruction of several dozen Great Wall cannons constituted a significant loss. Although Lu Yu had initially felt that 600 cannons were insufficient, witnessing their formidable power had somewhat alleviated that notion. Nevertheless, such weapons of mass destruction were always better in greater numbers. Who would ever complain about having fewer lethal capabilities at their disposal? The Great Wall cannons, previously concealed in the cavern, were now brought forth. This time, Lu Yu chose not to hide them away but instead delineated several distinct zones on Luofeng Ridge for their separate placement and protection. In each region, Lu Yu has strategically deployed a multitude of summoned beasts for vigilant oversight. From the skies above to the depths below, layers upon layers of summoned creatures maintain a constant 24-hour watch. Similarly, in the forging area where Chun Zhu and others are located, the defensive measures have been heightened to an extraordinary extent. Every summoned beast within the summoning space has been dispatched without exception. The Abyss territory has been comprehensively sealed off for 48 hours, prohibiting any ingress or egress, apart from those engaged in forging. The entire domain is now populated solely by summoned beasts. At this juncture, all efforts must yield to the creation of the Great Wall cannons. Chapter 419. The formation of the Alliance and the 500 Great Wall cannons for 2 consecutive days. Lu Yu devoted himself exclusively to the Abyss territory, refraining from any other activities. Even the meeting of the Human Alliance saw him delegate his avatar to represent him. Since Lu Yu no longer needed to personally engage in perilous endeavors, the skill of avatar projection had lain dormant for quite some time. During his early days in the novice village, this skill was utilized with great frequency, yet now it had become almost forgotten. Had it not been for the necessity of his presence at the Alliance formation meeting, he might have entirely overlooked this ability. The process of establishing the Alliance was both grand and solemn. Du Guohua undertook the entirety of the conference's expenses. The reconstruction of the No. 005 territory was also financed solely by him. He summoned all builders associated with the structures in Lingfeng City and Jui City, regardless of whether they were players or NPCs. Moreover, he even recruited a cadre of skilled artisans from the other 2 major secondary cities and the Dwarven race. In just 24 hours, prior to the commencement of the conference, the number 005 territory was completely restored. The Huan Alliance made its debut in an officially tacit capacity at the venue, causing quite a stir. Though unspoken, astute observers quickly discerned the implications of Li Wei's representation. All prominent factions gathered for this alliance formation convention. Even the prideful Ao Shi and Xing Tian braved the occasion. Despite their long-standing grievances with Lu Yu and the Lord of the Abyss, the stakes concerning their own faction's survival and the potential ramifications for humanity as a whole compelled their attendance. The conference proceeded smoothly, as the drafted covenant, conceived in a spirit of non-aggression, had been previously deliberated with Li Wei and others. Moreover, prior to the assembly, the leaders of several top factions had reviewed it, resulting in unanimous approval. Thus, when the Human Alliance was officially established and the covenant proclaimed, it passed with resounding consensus, encountering no obstacles. Ultimately, the Human Alliance convened to elect the leader and vice leader among other positions. An overwhelming 95 of the votes were cast in favor of Qin Jiu for the position of leader. The title of the foremost among humanity was one that Lu Yu had genuinely earned, devoid of any semblance of pretense, and even had been meticulously compressed. However, Lu Yu, commanding his avatar, resolutely expressed his dissent. While some lone players may have been oblivious to the significance of the leader's position within the alliance, Lu Yu understood it all too well. Though he currently possesses considerable strength, the moment he ascends to this position, a myriad of pressing matters will inevitably converge upon him. For instance, disputes over territory between rival factions necessitating mediation, alliances with foreign races requiring his intervention, and even trivial concerns such as how to mentor newcomers in their leveling endeavors will be thrust upon him. The alignment of status and responsibility is paramount. Power and duty are intrinsically linked. One need only observe Sun Hanyu, who since becoming the city lord has devoted his days to reviewing numerous documents and devising strategies for the development of the Alliance city, even carving out time for leveling despite his hectic schedule. Lu Yu is determined not to descend into the lamentable state of his mentor, who awakens each day to a desk cluttered with urgent matters both great and small. Such responsibilities cannot be entrusted to the reclusive and aloof figure of the Abyss Lord, who is already burdened with his own pressing affairs. Reluctantly, the position of leader was thus transferred to Li Wei, with Du Guohua appointed as the deputy leader. Subsequently, an honorary chairmanship was established, allowing Lu Yu to assume that role. This time, Lu Yu did not decline. As the founder of the Human Alliance, it was essential for him to hold a legitimate title within the organization. The honorary chairmanship, in essence, affords him the privilege to intervene whenever he pleases, while allowing him to remain unobtrusive when he chooses, evading accountability. This position is one that Lu Yu relishes. Much like the Abyss Lord, while he still bears the title of faction leader, the day-to-day affairs of the faction are managed by the reclusive figure. Lu Yu serves more as a banner under which he can advocate for the welfare of his brethren, in stark contrast to the thunderous gatherings within the Human Alliance territories. The Abyss domain remains a chilling landscape, fraught with hidden peril. Over the course of 2 days, Lu Yu lost count of the number of intruding foreign entities he had expelled. Among them were even human players feigning to be lost, attempting to approach the Great Wall Cannon, only to be unceremoniously returned to the spring by Lu Yu. Lost, you say? How could one lose their way yet gravitate towards the Great Wall Cannon while carrying explosive devices? Not only did Lu Yu expel these players, but he also meticulously recorded their IDs and identities. While some may have been oblivious to the true nature of the Abyss and merely accepted missions from foreign races, it is certain that traitors and spies exist among the human ranks. Unable to discern the guilty from the innocent himself, Lu Yu opted to document everything for Li Wei to investigate and resolve later. The emergence of the Great Wall Cannon has undeniably instilled a sense of existential dread among the abyssal entities. The shot fired from Territory 005 has awakened them to their precarious situation. The cannon's formidable power has compelled them to reassess the capabilities of humanity. While the average level of humanity may still be lacking, the existence of the Great Wall Cannon provides them with the means to confront the entire foreign race. This singular shot has evoked memories of humanity's former status in the minds of the abyssal elite. If this laissez-faire approach continues, when humanity rises once more, they will face a thorough reckoning. One abyssal summoner is already a considerable headache for them, and now with the emergence of such a formidable weapon, it is almost unfathomable to contemplate the extent of humanity's future strength. Lu Yu believes that if the racial barrier were to vanish at this moment, the other races would immediately mobilize their armies to assault the abyssal territories at any cost. Should that occur, even Lu Yu might find it challenging to withstand the onslaught. Although he possesses great strength, he is not yet a match for the fourth transformation. The Great Wall artillery is indeed powerful, yet it has not been produced in large quantities. If faced with a united onslaught from the other races, the outcome would mirror that of Lingfeng City in his previous life. Fortunately, he still has time, and an ample amount at that. 2 days swiftly passed, leaving less than an hour until the rendezvous with Zhu Hongwu. The anticipated 600 Great Wall cannons had only yielded 500 due to various reasons. While the quantity fell short of Lu Yu's expectations, the quality exceeded his imaginings. Within 10 days, annihilating the entire Nature Clan should pose no significant issue. Chapter 420. Unilateral Domination. Lu Yu opened his system map, adjusting it to display the region of the Nature Clan. This map was procured from Zhu Hongwu and meticulously marked the geographical features of all races within the Abyss. Over the years, powerful races have undoubtedly made adjustments to their own territorial landscapes. The Nature Clan, being the most capable of modifying their terrain, is nonetheless constrained by their inherent racial characteristics, limiting the extent of their alterations. However, Lu Yu has confirmed that several key locations remain unchanged. That is already sufficient. Time ticked away. Lu Yu summoned the Little Abyss and provided it with dozens of coordinates. Can multiple passageways be opened simultaneously? Indeed, the Little Abyss responded without hesitation. Since consuming the dark clouds, it has exhibited an even more enthusiastic demeanor than before. Then let us simultaneously open pathways to these coordinates. Very well, Master. The Little Abyss opened its vast maw, revealing multiple entrances. Under Lu Yu's command, skeletal generals maneuvered the Great Wall cannons into position. The coordinates he had marked were dispersed across various regions of the Nature Clan's territory, all situated at elevated geographical points. Once the time arrives and the territory of the Nature Clan is annexed by humanity, they can unleash their firepower directly to dominate a race. The simplest method is to control their source of revival. By dictating whether they can resurrect, one effectively governs the entire race's survival. However, the Nature Clan is quite unique, as they lack a source of revival. Upon death, they transform into seeds, ready to begin anew under suitable conditions. To truly master the realm of the Nature Clan, one must essentially control the seeds they leave behind after death. Nurturing them from a young age to recognize humanity as their sovereign is a monumental task that yields little immediate result. Nevertheless, establishing dominion over the land of the Nature Clan holds immense significance, primarily due to the abundant array of herbs flourishing within that territory. Lu Yu's objective is to eradicate the entire Nature Clan within a span of 10 days. Once accomplished, the territory of the Nature Clan will seamlessly transition into the domain of humanity, transforming the herbs found therein into invaluable resources for humankind. These herbs are not merely a one-time harvest. After the initial collection, they will rejuvenate over time. The formidable wall cannons have vanished into the passage, each safeguarded by a dedicated summoned beast. To this day, it is likely that only Lu Yu and Zhu Hongwu are privy to the Dragon Domain wall cannon plan. Perhaps the innocent and pure-hearted girl might also be aware. Her prowess in gathering intelligence is something Lu Yu regards with a degree of caution. Fortunately, she is one of their own. Thus, the abyssal beings are oblivious to the whereabouts of these wall cannons, rendering any preemptive measures or sabotage impossible. This battle is to be swift and decisive. Lu Yu stepped into the passage, while the abyssal maw gradually sealed. Within the territory of the Nature Clan, 500 wall cannons have been strategically positioned across 50 sites, poised to unleash their fire at Lu Yu's command. He gazed intently at the map, awaiting the designation of the Nature Clan's territory as part of humanity's domain. Moments later, the area previously marked as that of the Nature Clan underwent a transformation, now bearing the label of humanity. Fire! Lu Yu commanded with a calm demeanor. In an instant, the resounding booms of cannon fire erupted from every corner of the Nature Clan's territory, followed by towering mushroom clouds ascending into the sky. The land was engulfed in flames of war, as the little golden crow ascended, its fiery essence wreaking havoc. It is crucial to note that the plants obliterated by the wall cannons do not enter Lu Yu's summoning space. Therefore, in order to augment his summoned beasts, he must rely on the little golden crow to assist. Amidst the chaos of cannon fire, the 10 wall cannons beside Lu Yu unleashed their full might. In the blink of an eye, the area within a 10-mile radius was rendered barren. Only after neutralizing the threats surrounding the wall cannons could they firmly establish their foothold in this territory, free from the fear of unexpected assaults. At this juncture, Lu Yu finally opened Li Wei's dialogue box, revealing the entirety of the Dragon Domain wall cannon plan. I wondered what you've been so busy with lately, even appearing distracted during the recent assembly. It turns out you've been orchestrating something monumental behind our backs. After reviewing the specifics sent by Lu Yu, Li Wei chuckled heartily while expressing his grievances towards Lu Yu. How could you not inform me of such a significant matter in advance? Do you not trust me at all? Lu Yu, feeling somewhat embarrassed to admit that he had not actually attended the founding conference, hastily accelerated the conversation. How could I possibly doubt you? It is merely that the forces of the alien races are overwhelmingly powerful, necessitating heightened vigilance. Now that the plan has ensured safety, I am sharing it with you immediately. Are you suggesting that I rally the Alliance to participate in the Dragon Domain Great Wall Initiative to eliminate the Nature Tribe? Precisely so. We have only 10 days, and the first-level main city should already be dispatching NPC legions. We must also act swiftly. The Nature Tribe is the best for farming experience points. If we delay, the opportunity will be lost. Very well, I shall cease our idle chatter and begin organizing forces to launch an assault on the Nature Tribe. It has been less than a day since I became the Alliance leader, and already I am being assigned tasks by you, the honorary chairman. Li Wei remarked as he closed the dialogue box. Lu Yu then redirected his focus back to the battlefield. Although it was termed a battlefield, it was, in reality, a one-sided massacre. The vast majority of plants were immobile, merely enduring bombardment. Those few mobile plants, even if they wished to flee, found no sanctuary amidst the relentless artillery fire. Presently, there was no safe haven within the territory of the Nature Tribe. This was a battle devoid of suspense. The only lament was that the faction killed by the cannon fire would yield no experience points for anyone. This was an unavoidable circumstance. The Great Wall cannons were unclaimed and could be utilized by anyone after production. Yet, even the users themselves could not gain experience. This was a common flaw of war machines. They were designed for conflict, not for leveling up. Otherwise, Lu Yu's level would have skyrocketed to 120 in mere moments. Contemplating the prospect of leveling up, Lu Yu could not help but think of Sun Hanyu. 4 or 5 days had passed. Yet there had been no news of Sun Hanyu's return from the Gathering City. This was quite troubling. Surely, nothing serious could have occurred. As this thought crossed his mind, Lu Yu felt a pang of anxiety. No, once the Nature Tribe was dealt with, he would head to Gathering City to investigate. If Sun Hanyu had not yet returned, Lu Yu dared not continue that line of thought. He currently had no information regarding Sun Hanyu. He could only hope she had returned safely, merely unable to inform him yet. Chapter 421. Rest. Lu Yu shook his head, dispelling some of the darker thoughts that had crept in. Sun Hanyu's prowess was well recognized. Not only were each of her summoned beasts meticulously selected, but their coordination was also impeccable. For now, he must concentrate all his attention on the battlefield at hand. Though the situation appeared overwhelmingly advantageous, it was precisely during such times that carelessness could lead to disaster. Lu Yu was determined not to falter in the face of potential pitfalls. He remained vigilant, closely monitoring the movements of each artillery position. Even the slightest stir warranted an immediate response with cannon fire in that direction. He was unperturbed by the potential waste of ammunition, believing that any additional expenditure was preferable to losing an entire artillery point to an enemy surprise. Commanding a large military operation was never a trivial endeavor. Although Lu Yu was overseeing merely 50 artillery battalions, the relentless 3-day engagement left him utterly exhausted. His mind, having been fully engaged for such a duration, felt somewhat clouded. Fortunately, the results were significant. Over 40% of the natural territory had been reduced to rubble, and all rebellious factions of the natural tribes had been eradicated, reverting to their primordial seed forms. Those who chose not to resist were promptly conscripted as summoned beasts. During this period, Li Wei had approached Lu Yu, expressing a desire for him to subjugate all, or at least the majority, of the natural tribes. This would undoubtedly elevate the combat strength of humanity. Lu Yu contemplated this proposition but ultimately declined. His lifespan was finite. Even as an abyss summoner, he could not transcend the limits of life. Should he bind all natural tribes as summoned beasts, upon his demise, those creatures would regain their freedom, spelling disaster for humanity. It was far more prudent to cultivate these beings anew, allowing them to genuinely pledge allegiance to humanity for enduring benefit. Lu Yu even speculated that humanity's current plight might very well stem from the prior abyss summoner's failure to adequately plan for the future. History serves as a lesson. He was reluctant to tread the same path as his predecessors. Some actions needed to commence immediately. Moreover, there was a pressing reason for his decision. Time was of the essence. This cleansing operation was allotted a mere 10 days. And even Lu Yu recognized that consuming the entire natural tribe within that time frame was entirely unfeasible. As the front lines expanded, numerous players from humanity began to infiltrate the natural territories. It became a veritable festivity for fire mages, who had never encountered such easily vanquished wild creatures. With their eyes closed, they merely hurled fireballs, witnessing a rapid increase in their experience points. Realizing this, various guilds swiftly organized combat teams centered around fire mages. As the primary damage dealers, the fire mages were supported by others tasked with reconnaissance, battlefield cleanup, and experience accumulation. Initially, this initiative sparked discontent among the fire mage community, who felt entitled to the entirety of the experience points. Why should they share with others when they were capable of claiming it all? In response, Lu Yu issued a public announcement. Such battles would be frequent in the future, and if fire mages wished to monopolize experience now, they would be relegated to forming their own teams in subsequent operations. Upon reading this proclamation, the fire mages fell silent. The singular military unit lacks the capacity for survival on the battlefield, unless one possesses the true resolve to sever ties with their faction and embrace a solitary existence. Otherwise, it is prudent to form teams and share experience points. As the primary damage dealer, the fire mage undoubtedly garners the lion's share of experience within the group. The Lord of the Abyss has also made its entrance onto the battlefield, positioned at the heart of the most lucrative territory. Lu Yu has meticulously mapped the distribution of the entire nature tribe, ensuring that his faction secures the finest resources. Additionally, the Lord of the Abyss presents no conflict regarding uneven experience distribution. After all, it is merely a fire mage, which simplifies matters considerably. For those lacking fire-based damage, Lu Yu readily assigns fire attribute summoned beasts. Brother, perhaps you should log off and take a rest, he suggests. The pure-hearted youth and dreamy Jiangnan stand beside Lu Yu. In such large-scale battles, their involvement holds little significance. Therefore, they choose to team up with Lu Yu, passively gaining experience nearby. Over the course of 3 days, they have ascended to level 70. However, seeing Lu Yu struggle to keep his eyes open, the two young ladies feel a pang of concern. Lu Yu, too, senses his exhaustion acutely. It is no wonder that after the wars of yore, those founding marshals and commanders were often beset by ailments. This is a profound drain on one's vitality. Yet, Lu Yu dares not close his eyes, for reason dictates that such moments are ripe for unforeseen calamities. 3 days is ample time for the other races to react. They could very well be mobilizing forces to exact revenge upon humanity. The only factions likely to watch humanity regain its strength are the dwarves and a few newly allied races. Nevertheless, fatigue weighs heavily upon him. Leader, please log off and rest a while. Pure-hearted sister is here to watch over things, and there is no danger, they urge. After a moment's hesitation, Lu Yu nods in agreement. The body is the capital of revolution. If he collapses before the abyss descends, who will fight the battles to come? Pure-hearted, be vigilant against the alien forces attempting to breach the Great Wall cannons. No one is permitted to approach within a mile of the Great Wall cannons for any reason, including our own people. I have already arranged the action routes for the summoned beasts. They will attack sequentially according to the established targets. Most importantly, ensure the safety of Chunju and the others. I did not dare leave them among humanity, although the efficiency of crafting will significantly decline if they accompany me. Their safety is paramount. Your current strength is more than sufficient to protect them. I understand, brother, pure-hearted youth responds, nodding vigorously in response to Lu Yu's incessant instructions. After a few more admonitions, Lu Yu finally logs off. After several days offline, he collapses directly onto his bed upon exiting the game pod. In a hazy state, he senses someone opening his door, and soon gentle hands begin to massage and soothe him. It is the young girl, dreamy Jiangnan. Lu Yu succumbs to a deep slumber. Uncertain of how much time had passed, Lu Yu was suddenly awakened by the sounds of a scuffle emanating from downstairs. Tables were overturned, glass shattered, and gunshots rang out. Startled, Lu Yu quietly went to investigate, and saw Sun Ruekong holding down a man wearing a mask with one hand. Outside, a group of uniformed bodyguards had surrounded the entire villa, standing vigilant. Upon spotting Lu Yu, Sun Ruekong offered him a faint smile, explaining that a few inebriated individuals had attempted to break in with knives to rob them, but had already been subdued. Lu Yu nodded in appreciation, thanking him for his assistance. It's nothing, Sun Ruekong reassured him. You need not worry, I will handle it from here. Though no further words were exchanged, Lu Yu was acutely aware that this incident was directed at him, reminiscent of the previous car accident. Chapter 422. Bad news awakened by the commotion. Lu Yu found himself unable to return to sleep. The situation had already escalated offline, and it was likely that issues would arise online as well. With this thought, he had no inclination to continue resting. As soon as he logged in, he was bombarded with an array of dialogue boxes, making it impossible to keep up. He glanced around, noting that the innocent youth was absent, leaving only Chunqing Jiangnan to safeguard him. What has transpired? He inquired. Boss, you're awake. One of our artillery battalions has clashed with a small gang. Chunqing Jia has already rushed over, came the response. An hour ago, the 37th Artillery Battalion was moving according to the planned schedule. Unexpectedly, they encountered players leveling up at the next artillery position. These players immediately confronted the Abyss Lord, condemning him for seizing their leveling spot and even attempting to approach the artillery battalion to obstruct them. Given the gravity of the situation regarding the artillery battalion, Chunqing Jiangnan took it seriously and went to address the matter personally. What? She went herself? Lu Yu exclaimed. Indeed, they confirmed. Chunqing Jia stated that if the opposition intended to steal the artillery battalion, it would be disastrous. Without delay, Lu Yu activated his clairvoyance, shifting his vision to the Thunderbone Dragon. As Lu Yu's strongest combatant, the Thunderbone Dragon was stationed alongside Chen Zhu and others for comprehensive 24-hour protection. From the Thunderbone Dragon's vantage point, the forging camp appeared devoid of any anomalies. Old Lei, unleash a thunderstorm around the camp. The wider the coverage, the better, Lu Yu commanded. With a rumble, the Thunderbone Dragon complied without hesitation, casting a hollow electric net that enveloped the entire forging camp. Suddenly, nearly 100 shadows were blasted into view, each averaging level 90, predominantly second transformation players, with 2 third transformation leaders among them. Belonging to various races including the Netherworld, Goblin, Undead, and Gnomes, these 100 individuals represented the pinnacle of interspecies combat prowess. The unexpected emergence of such a multitude startled the Thunderbone Dragon, which had not sensed their approach. With their presence now revealed, the intruders abandoned caution, swiftly becoming fleeting shadows as they charged toward the forging camp. In the next moment, a series of ice walls encircled the entire camp, effectively obstructing the advance of the alien assassins. The Ice Rock Giant, a summoned beast tamed by Lu Yu within the ice cavern, was of immense size, perfectly suited for constructing defensive fortifications. The assassins, in unison, employed their backstab technique, instantly plunging into the confines of the ice walls. However, within the icy enclosure, the tendrils of Little Green awaited them. The assassins' displacement skills, namely the backstab, compelled them to reveal their position, preventing them from directly approaching Chen Zhu and his companions. As Little Green's tendrils swayed, the alien assassins remained unfazed. Bottles of black liquid flew from their hands, crashing against Little Green's form. In an instant, a putrid stench permeated the air, and Little Green's health plummeted. The spectral poison. The Spectral clan had evidently invested heavily, equipping every assassin tasked with the assassination with this lethal toxin. Just as Little Green's health was about to dwindle to nothing, a pristine white flower blossomed at that moment. A fragrant aroma wafted through the air, swiftly dispelling the spectral poison from Little Green's being. The assassins were taken aback, particularly those from the Spectral clan, who could hardly believe that their clan's formidable weapon had been neutralized in an instant. Desperate, the leading assassin shouted a command and surged forward with a dagger in hand, followed closely by the others, all racing towards the heart of the camp. Little Green's tendrils writhed in an attempt to intercept them. It was evident that these individuals had undergone prior collaborative training. Some rushed headlong into the fray, while others fought desperately to block the approaching tendrils. They were genuinely risking their lives to intercept, even if it meant being ensnared or killed, determined to hold fast to the tendrils and alleviate any burden from their advancing comrades. Notably, 2 third-tier assassins coordinated their efforts, one obstructing the tendrils while the other pressed forward with unyielding resolve. Even Little Green could not thwart everyone at once. A dozen assassins, shielded by their comrades, successfully penetrated the very center of the forging camp. However, before they could revel in their success, they were met with a chilling, bone-piercing dragon's breath. This was the full-force strike of the Frostbone Dragon, and caught off guard, the group of infiltrating assassins was struck down. Only 1 third-tier assassin miraculously survived. Knowing that the alien forces would undoubtedly attempt an ambush, how could Lu Yu possibly place Chen Zhu and the others in such a conspicuous position? The forging camp was indeed real, but it solely produced components. The assembly of the Great Wall cannons had been strategically relocated to the birthplace of the Little Abyss. Although the space was confined and cramped, it was still capable of accommodating several Great Wall cannons. The components were transported in, and once assembled, the fortified Great Wall cannons were brought out from the Little Abyss. While this method was more cumbersome and energy-intensive, it ensured greater safety. Lu Yu gazed at the solitary third-tier assassin remaining in the camp. I appreciate you personally delivering a batch of assassination prowess to me. 2 third-tier assassins. A rather costly investment on your part. The assassin scoffed lightly. Qing Jiu, you've fallen for my trap. Consider it my misfortune. However, do you not find it peculiar that you have not seen your mentor of late? Would you like to know her current whereabouts? I have always looked down upon the physicality of the human race. Yet that woman, My, how captivating she is. With a thunderous roar, the Thunderbone Dragon swiftly dispatched the assassin, severing his head. Lu Yu then summoned him forth, his voice low and dangerous. What did you just say? Where is my mentor now? His pupils narrowed, his eyes burning crimson. The last thing he wished to hear was news of Sun Hanyu, especially from an outsider. Master. The assassin stammered, trembling in fear. Enough idle chatter. Divulge all that you know. Why yes, I have heard that she engaged in a bloody battle among the goblins, sustaining grave injuries before fleeing. After that, I know not where she went. What did your earlier words imply? I merely intended to frighten you. The assassin's sentence remained unfinished as he collapsed lifelessly to the ground. Lu Yu could not contain the fury coursing through him and obliterated the assassin without hesitation. The worst news had indeed surfaced. Sun Hanyu was in peril. However, from the information at hand, it seemed that the direst outcome had yet to transpire. Jiangnan summoned Chunqing, Chenju, and Yeshawuzing immediately. A few minutes later, the three appeared before Lu Yu, instantly recognizing that something was amiss with his demeanor. Brother, I was wrong. I should not have. We shall discuss this later. Zhuzi, Yeshawuzing, I must embark on a journey with Chunqing and cannot ascertain when I shall return. You two will oversee all artillery operations. Chapter 4:23. Where has Sun Hanyu gone? Brother, what has transpired? The three stared at Lu Yu, who was unmistakably agitated. His tone laced with raw anger and urgency. My mentor is missing. The latest news indicates that she was gravely wounded among the goblins, and her life or death remains uncertain. The group widened their eyes in shock, fully aware of the profound bond between Lu Yu and his mentor, transcending mere student-teacher affection. Zhuzi, I had not intended to involve you again, but I am indeed overwhelmed. Brother, you need not say such things. Leave this to us. You can trust us to handle it. Brother, we must set off to the goblin tribe at once. Lu Yu nodded. Chunqing, you shall seek out your mentor. She and mine were the closest of friends. Inquire if she was informed of any planned course of action before my mentor departed. Ride my bone dragon, and we shall reconvene at our territory in 1 hour. Understood, brother. The innocent youth leaped onto the Thunderbone Dragon, vanishing into the horizon. Lu Yu then summoned the little abyss to create a passage to the dwarven tribe, with the exit located precisely where the projection of the Unity City was. As Wang Yu emerged from the passage of the little abyss, the Unity City before him remained unchanged. He mounted the dragon and soared toward the Lord's manor. The projection of Sun Hanyu appeared. Oh my, what wind has blown my half-apprentice here? Come, let me see. You've been leveling up quite rapidly these past few days. That's odd. You're already at level 85, yet you haven't undergone your second-class transition. Has my original self forsaken you? The projection of Sun Hanyu was utterly oblivious to the fact that her original self had gone missing. Nevertheless, the existence of the projection indicated that Sun Hanyu herself had not perished, offering Lu Yu a slight sense of relief. My mentor has gone missing. Missing? When did this happen? Just in the last few days. The last known location she appeared was in the Goblin tribe, where she fled severely injured and is now unaccounted for. I came to inquire whether she had sought you out recently and shared any information regarding her situation. Sun Hanyu's projection furrowed her brow, lost in silent contemplation. The disappearance of her original self, along with the potential for life-threatening peril, was far from favorable news for her. She did indeed seek me out a few days ago, merely inquiring about a few pieces of information on foreign tribes and acquiring several maps. What information? Which tribes' maps? Let me think. This matter transpired several days ago, and my recollection has grown hazy. When my original self visited, there was nothing particularly unusual about her demeanor. I did not pay special attention. Had I foreseen this day, I would have cultivated the habit of keeping a journal, noting all events meticulously. There were the Goblin tribe, the Nether tribe, the Dragon tribe, and the Giant tribe, roughly those few. She primarily inquired about leveling points. But regarding the Dragon tribe and the Giant tribe, it seemed she intended to venture into the Dragon's lair and the Giant King's court. Lu Yu remarked, my mentor, you are indeed audacious. The Dragon's lair and the Giant King's court are places I would hesitate to approach myself. The inhabitants of these two races are sparse, yet any that emerge are of at least second-class transition, if not third. These tribes typically refrain from meddling in the conflicts of others, and others are reluctant to provoke their ire. Why would you willingly seek to stir their wrath? Is it for the sake of summoning beasts? A hint of suspicion began to form in Lu Yu's mind. Thank you. I shall first investigate these tribes. As Lu Yu prepared to depart, he was abruptly halted by Sun Hanyu's projection. I shall accompany you. At level 100, Sun Hanyu's projection represented a formidable force. If my original self has perished, I too shall cease to exist. By joining you, I can not only fight alongside you, but also help you discern whether to seek or to avenge. Lu Yu did not refuse. Then let us go together. As the Abyss passage opened, Lu Yu led Sun Hanyu's projection into the domain of the Abyss. He returned swiftly, only to find that the innocent youth was already waiting for him. Beside the innocent youth stood a graceful woman, Oriental Roland, the confidant of Sun Hanyu and the mentor of the innocent youth. Lu Yu had previously encountered her. She was a formidable shadow assassin. Upon seeing Sun Hanyu's projection emerge, her eyes brightened at first, but then she seemed to sense something amiss. Who are you? This is the projection of my mentor. Oh, Oriental Roland's demeanor shifted to one of slight disappointment, yet she soon recalled something. So, this means Xiaoyu is still alive. Indeed. Do you have any news on your end? Xiaoyu aimed to advance to the third transformation before you, so she ventured out to train relentlessly. The last I heard, she intended to visit the giant and dragon clans, nurturing her 2 primary summoned beasts to maturity. Beyond that, she did not disclose any further details. Racing ahead to complete the third transformation, Lu Yu suddenly comprehended that his mentor had always been an ambitious individual. Is there any plan? How can we locate Xiaoyu? Currently, there are 4 confirmed locations: the Goblin Clan, the Nether Clan, the Dragon Clan, and the Giant Clan. If all goes well, my true self should still be within the territories of these races. No, the area is too vast. Just one clan's territory would take us considerable time to search. With 4 clans, even if we find her, it may be too late. The 4 individuals who knew Sun Hanyu best were present, though one remained unseen. Yet they could hear the discussions. However, none could determine where to search for Sun Hanyu. Shall we first head to the Goblin Clan? She was last seen there, and we might uncover some clues. If I were Xiaoyu and had been severely injured, I would certainly choose to escape immediately. The Goblin Clan is unlike the others. Their entire population is under the control of the Goblin General, leaving no place to hide. Listening to the women's discourse, Lu Yu closed his eyes. Where would his mentor go? There was no way to ascertain. Sun Hanyu did not possess a minor abyss. She always needed to locate an evil map to traverse to other races through abyssal rifts. Moreover, the landing points of such traversals were unpredictable, complicating the search further. If only there were a way to open a heavenly eye to glimpse Sun Hanyu's current location. But such a bug-like ability could hardly exist. Lu Yu suddenly opened his eyes. Such an extraordinary capability might indeed exist. He promptly accessed his friend's list and found the innocent young girl. Are you there? I need your assistance. Chapter 424. Dragon's Nest. Lu Yu got straight to the point. In such a situation, he cared little for any camaraderie he might have with the innocent young girl, nor did he feel inclined to exchange pleasantries. As long as he could find Sun Hanyu, he would agree to anything. The innocent young girl quickly responded. Oh, the esteemed Qingjiu personally messaged me. What a rare occurrence. My mentor has gone missing, and I implore you to assist me in locating her current whereabouts. The last time I provided you with information, there was an expectation that you would express your gratitude with a meal or some form of acknowledgement, yet you merely responded with a simple thank you and left it at that, which left me quite disheartened. Lu Yu was internally anxious, for he had little inclination for idle chatter at this moment. However, given his current predicament, he mustered the courage to press on. There has been an overwhelming number of events lately, as you are aware. Once this tumult subsides, I shall express my gratitude in whatever manner you desire. Then come to me now, and share a moment of rest, and I shall divulge the whereabouts of Sun Hanyu. Lu Yu, why does everyone wish to share a bed with me? Please, have some decorum. Alas, you truly lack a sense of humor. No wonder that innocent youth has struggled to win your heart for so long. I fear I am equally challenged. Lu Yu, it is indeed challenging to navigate conversations with someone who holds knowledge of everything. I cannot ascertain the precise location of Sun Hanyu. However, the energy fluctuations in her vicinity are quite intense. Wait, she has emerged, albeit in a weakened state, as if afflicted by some poison. Her vitality sustained solely by healing spells. Where's this place? A region of 10 towering mountains, replete with lava, tsunamis, and vast forests. How could such diverse terrains coexist? Thank you. Lu Yu decisively closed the dialogue box. Dongfang Roland and the projection of Sun Hanyu were still engaged in discussion when Lu Yu interrupted. Sun Hanyu is within the Dragon Clan, and she is perilously close to the Dragon Nest. Her condition is dire. Dongfang Roland and the projection of Sun Hanyu exchanged glances. Then what are we waiting for? If we know her location, we must act swiftly. The 2 women were uninterested in inquiring how Lu Yu had obtained this information at such a critical juncture. The source was irrelevant. They knew well that Lu Yu would not jest about such serious matters. To reach the Dragon Clan, I require their coordinates. The Abyss cannot conjure a portal without a definitive exit point. The group exchanged uncertain glances. Lu Yu wrapped his head. This was not the time to lose focus. Concern often breeds confusion. He summoned 2 skeletal dragons. Do you recall the coordinates near the Dragon Nest? Master, we were born of the undead, and we are unaware of the Dragon Clan's location, let alone the coordinates of their nest, the Frostbone Dragon replied apologetically. The Thunderbone Dragon shot a glance at the Frostbone Dragon. Just speak for yourself. Do not implicate me. Master, you know I have long aspired to transcend to the 4th tier. The Dragon Nest is the most conducive place for such a breakthrough. I possess a general understanding of its coordinates, though I cannot provide exactitude. A general location will suffice, as long as we reach the Dragon Clan. We can ascertain the specifics upon arrival. The Thunderbone Dragon relayed a set of coordinates, and Lu Yu turned his gaze toward the abyss. The latter immediately grasped his intent, and a portal opened. This is the passage to the Dragon Clan, and upon exiting, we may find ourselves in close proximity to the Dragon Nest. The power of the Dragon Clan is formidable, especially in the vicinity of their lair, where encountering a 4th-level dragon is a distinct possibility. Aunt Roland from the east. Perhaps you should refrain from proceeding just yet. How dare you refer to me as Aunt? My dear Yu is in mortal peril. How could I possibly stay behind? Enough of your prattle. I command you, in the name of Lady Master, that you must take me along this time. Lady Master? Is that not still akin to calling me aunt? I shall accompany you, but you must remain by the side of the pure-hearted youth. Very well. I shall agree for now, and we can deliberate on the specifics once we arrive. Pure-hearted youth, keep a vigilant watch over your master. Should danger arise, retreat stealthily. Understood. Big brother. Lu Yu took the lead into the abyssal passage, with the other three following closely. Upon emerging from the depths, they found themselves in a verdant forest. Where's this place? Lu Yu looked up to see 10 towering peaks, resembling colossal pillars reaching for the heavens. Gold, wood, water, fire, earth, light, darkness, mist, thunder, ice. Each mountain exhibited a distinct elemental attribute, with 10 different elements intertwining and yet remaining isolated from one another. This is indeed the dragon's lair. The position of Lu Yu and his companions is an extension of the wood element dragon's domain. Where is Xiao Yu? I do not know, but I can sense her presence nearby, and she is headed in the direction of the dragon lair. Then we shall split up to search for her. Agreed. Lu Yu summoned several familiars and distributed them among his companions. Should you discover any trace of my mentor or encounter any danger, report your coordinates and circumstances immediately. I will relay real-time information to you through them. Understood. The pure-hearted youth and Aunt Roland ventured in one direction, while Sun Hanyu's projection dashed in the opposite direction. Lu Yu remained stationary, conjuring forth countless bone insects. Most of his familiars were left on the battlefield of the nature tribe, and now the number of creatures he could summon from his space was woefully inadequate. Aside from these bone insects, he had merely 2 bone dragons, Sun Tianhua, some immobile plants, and a few insignificant entities lacking combat prowess. Given the task of locating individuals, the bone insects were the most expedient choice. Tens of millions of bone insects surged in every direction, flowing like a river of pale white towards the horizon. Lu Yu mounted a bone dragon and ascended into the sky, leveraging the aerial advantage to survey the surroundings. This was a perilous maneuver, as dragons were known to ride their kin, especially in such an ostentatious manner. Should other dragons happen to notice him, he would undoubtedly incur their wrath and vengeance. Yet, Lu Yu was unconcerned with such matters. He was prepared to confront any adversities that arose. His sole desire was to swiftly locate Sun Hanyu. Even if it meant drawing the ire of other dragons, he would simply have to face them. After all, he had traversed this path before. And had he not made enemies among other races? Ultimately, who had not been subdued and ground into the earth? Lu Yu's urgency stemmed primarily from the grim revelation that Sun Hanyu had been poisoned and barely holding on with a healing skill. The situation bore an uncanny resemblance to the infamous nether poison. This thought deepened Lu Yu's anxiety. If it truly was the nether poison, then without prompt treatment, Sun Hanyu might not survive the day. 2 skeletal dragons roamed the skies, tirelessly surveying the various regions. Sun Hanyu was familiar with the frostbone dragon. Upon sighting it, she would undoubtedly recognize that it was searching for her. This would significantly enhance the efficiency of the search, provided that Sun Hanyu could see them. Lu Yu ascended to a greater altitude. At that moment, in the heart of the forest, a pair of eyes the size of wheels suddenly opened. They fixed upon the soaring skeletal dragons, revealing displeasure. The skeletal dragons of the undead clan, a disgrace to my dragon lineage, dare to invade the dragon nest. Chapter 425, Dragon Battle Master. I am being watched. The thunderbone dragon beneath Lu Yu suddenly spoke. It distinctly sensed a wave of hostility emanating from the forest below, an unmistakable scent from its kin, devoid of any attempt at concealment. Ignore it. Continue the search. Just be wary of a surprise attack. It was only a matter of time before they attracted the attention of other dragons, a scenario Lu Yu had anticipated. Under normal circumstances, he would not have been so conspicuous, but now, he had little choice. The thunderbone dragon flapped its wings and resumed its rapid flight. The massive dragon's size, coupled with the vastness of the dragon nest and its extended territory, made it impossible to search thoroughly in a short time. They needed to accelerate. A thunderous roar erupted from within the forest. The wood dragon, residing in the woods, was ignited with fury. It had previously issued a warning to the thunderbone dragon. Yet the latter continued to circle its territory without a care. This was the utmost provocation. Dragons possessed dignity. No colossal dragon would allow others to trample on its pride, even if the challenger belonged to the same kin or was on the verge of a 4th transformation. With a roar, a surge of green energy shot into the sky, aimed directly at the thunderbone dragon. This breath of energy was imbued with a brutal life force, standing in stark contrast to the deathly aura surrounding the skeletal dragon. In other words, it dealt double damage. The thunderbone dragon had anticipated this, tilting its body to easily evade the wood dragon's breath. A majestic figure slowly rose from the forest. Slightly smaller than the thunderbone dragon, it still commanded an indescribable awe. It unfurled its wings and took to the skies. What business do you, creatures of the undead clan, have in the dragon nest? Do you seek to seize our dragon essence to complete your 4th transformation? The dragon nest is no place for your reckless antics. Depart immediately, and I shall pretend you never arrived. The thunderbone dragon remained silent, as did Lu Yu. With Sun Hanyu's whereabouts unknown, He had no intention of leaving. However, Liu dared not explicitly state that he was searching for someone. A human intruding upon a dragon's lair would likely meet a grim fate if discovered. The most favorable outcome would be to locate Sun Hanyu before the dragon clan and escort her away. Without delay, he issued his commands in a hushed tone. Do not engage. If it strikes, both of you must resolve it with all your might. The wood dragon, sensing the bone dragon's indifference, became increasingly enraged. If you insist on courting death, I shall gladly escort you on your final journey. A breath of dragon fire erupted forth. The thunderbone dragon attempted to evade, only to suddenly perceive 2 additional breaths of dragon fire racing towards it from the depths of the forest. These 3 breaths closed off all avenues of retreat for the thunderbone dragon, ensuring that any attempt to dodge would result in a direct hit. In this moment, the disadvantage of its massive size became glaringly apparent. With a furious roar, the thunderbone dragon charged headlong into the weakest of the dragon breaths. After a pained wail, its vitality plummeted significantly. Simultaneously, a frosty breath grazed the left wing of the thunderbone dragon, aimed at the wood dragon soaring in the sky. The thunderbone dragon, undeterred, unleashed a tempest of lightning upon the wood dragon, dark clouds rapidly gathering overhead. A series of strikes forced the wood dragon to plummet back into the forest below. The life force imbued in the wood dragon's breath inflicted double damage upon the bone dragon, while the deathly energy from the thunderstorm wreaked similar havoc on the wood dragon. Having been struck by several bolts of lightning, the wood dragon was reduced to less than half of its vitality. It lay panting on the forest floor, green light speckling its form, gradually restoring its life force. Suddenly, the temperature in the surrounding environment plummeted, and the life energy within the forest was swiftly encased in ice. The frostbone dragon swooped down, its colossal form aiming to collide with the prostrate wood dragon. Just then, a green figure darted out, interposing itself between the wood dragon and the frostbone dragon. Yet another third-tier wood dragon emerged. The dragon clan was never lacking in formidable units, especially within their lair. In this forest, another third-tier dragon remained concealed. Lu Yu, wary of the situation, gestured with one hand, and Xiao Lu fell into the embrace of the woods. The nature tribe thrived here, flourishing as if in water. The abundant life force intoxicated Xiao Lu, yet it remained steadfast to its purpose. Merely absorbing the vitality of the forest held little interest. Its tendrils swiftly ensnared the downed wood dragon, barbed points piercing into its flesh, rapidly siphoning away its life force. The wood dragon emitted a cry of anguish, transitioning from a state of healing to one of being preyed upon in the blink of an eye. The loss of its life energy felt akin to being drained of blood and marrow. Hearing the tormented wails of the injured wood dragon, the wood dragon facing the frostbone dragon was taken aback. Mother, quickly come. In the forest, another figure darted forth, its target set on Xiao Lu. She aimed to rend asunder this foreign plant that did not belong in her domain. The thunderbone dragon could hardly fulfill her desires, as the power of thunder ravaged the skies, firmly ensnaring the mother wood dragon. Do not hold back. We must resolve this swiftly, Lu Yu urged, aware that such commotion would surely attract the attention of other dragons in the vicinity. At once, Little Green intensified its suction, the life force visibly coursing through the vines. The wood dragon, lying on the ground, was already on the brink of death. Suddenly, a thunderclap resonated in the distant sky. It was not the thunderbone dragon, but rather the thunder dragon of the dragon nest that had arrived. Eliminate one first. Lu Yu reacted swiftly. He had no summons capable of contending with a third-tier dragon and needed a quick resolution. The thunderbone dragon abandoned its struggle with the mother wood dragon, directing its myriad bolts of lightning upon the dying wood dragon. In an instant, the wood dragon's vitality dwindled to nothing, yet the thunder dragon was already upon them. The lightning strike that had descended upon the wood dragon abruptly ceased. The 2 lightning-affiliated dragons commenced a fierce competition for the dominion over the thunderous energy in the air. Seizing the opportunity, the arriving mother wood dragon tore the vines binding the wood dragon, dragging it back into the depths of the forest. Little Green, unable to move, could only retract its form, awaiting a new opportunity. Bone dragon, what brings you to the dragon nest? The thunder dragon noticed Lu Yu upon the bone dragon. Yet a mere human seemed insignificant to it. What truly concerned it was the bone dragon, which was nearing the 4th tier. I merely came for a stroll. Is that so objectionable? Lu Yu had intended for the bone dragon to assert its purpose of slaying 2 dragons for sport, yet this was indeed the dragon nest. Within this forest, there were 3 third-tier wood dragons, and the dragon nest harbored no fewer than dozens of third-tier dragons. Such power was beyond what they could currently contend with, not to mention the potential presence of 4th-tier dragons atop the 10 mountains surrounding them. Bones dragon. We are both of the dragon lineage. There is no need for subterfuge in our discourse. Though you belong to the realm of the undead, we still acknowledge your identity as a dragon. If your desire is to attain dragon energy for ascension to the 4th tier, you may express it plainly. As long as you can offer something of equal value, we would not be averse to accommodating your request. The thunder dragon's words reflected a considerable concession. It seemed disinclined to engage in conflict at this moment. Chapter 426. The thunderbone dragon's body swayed slightly. The thunder dragon had uttered the very thing it yearned for most. dragon energy would significantly enhance its prospects for ascension to the 4th tier. However, it was not merely the Thunderbone Dragon anymore. It was also Lu Yu's summoned beast. Lu Yu remained silent, and the Bone Dragon dared not voice its desires. A certain stillness enveloped the air. Lu Yu broke the silence. I seek a person. Once I find her, we shall depart at once. Seek someone. You come to our dragon clan to search for someone? The Thunder Dragon appeared taken aback by Lu Yu's statement, suddenly realizing that this human was indeed the true orchestrator of the situation. Her name is Sun Hanyu, and she has just entered the dragon nest. Upon hearing that name, the demeanor of the Thunder Dragon instantly transformed. What do you seek her for? I intend to take her away. If you encounter her, please return her to me. Take her away? In your dreams. Do you truly believe that my dragon clan is a place where one can come and go at will? The thunder in the sky erupted once more, indicating that the Thunder Dragon was evidently unwilling to continue this conversation. Since hearing the name Sun Hanyu, its emotions had become exceedingly agitated. Could it be that their mentor had secretly taken something from the dragon's lair, only to be discovered by the dragon clan? Or perhaps, was the dragon clan intent on retaining that pink fire dragon that belonged to her? After all, a summoned beast from Sun Hanyu, belonging to the elven tribe, had been forcibly retained within the elven realm. With negotiations rendered futile, it was time to engage in combat. The heavens roared with thunder. 2 colossal dragons of the lightning attribute gazed at one another from a distance, seemingly motionless. Yet, the violent power of the thunder that surged through the sky made it evident that they were fiercely contending for the elemental forces of thunder present in the world. In this standoff, the first to act would inadvertently signify their defeat in the struggle. Below, the wood dragon had once more entangled itself with the frostbone dragon. Both dragons, newly matured at level 120, were evenly matched, exchanging blows in a relentless manner. One would strike, and the other would retaliate. Neither could gain the upper hand, nor could either bring the other to ruin. Little Green concealed herself within the depths of the forest, ever vigilant of the movements in the woodland's heart. Ever since those 2 wood dragons departed, an unsettling silence had enveloped the area. Yet, the quieter it became, the tenser the atmosphere grew. No one could predict when a colossal dragon might suddenly emerge, catching everyone off guard. This stalemate persisted for several minutes. The Thunder Dragon's control over the thunderous power waned significantly. After all, the Frostbone Dragon was a nearing 4th transformation entity, regardless of the Thunder Dragon's prowess. It would find it challenging to match such a formidable foe. As long as no true 4th transformation dragon appeared, the Frostbone Dragon was nearly invincible in one-on-one combat. At this moment, Lu Yu felt no elation over the scales of victory tilting in his favor. Rather, he was engulfed in confusion. Despite the commotion he had caused, only 4 dragons had shown themselves thus far. Had the dragon lair declined to such an extent? Impossible. The dragon race boasts a long lifespan and formidable strength, rendering decline nearly inconceivable. Moreover, the distant volcano continued to erupt, and the sea roared, both signs of the dragon clan harnessing their power. Yet, where had all the dragons gone? Brother, I have located the wood dragon you injured earlier. Shall we deal with it? Lu Yu suddenly heard the voice of the pure-hearted youth. She was relaying a message to him through her summoned beast. Given the evident sounds of battle, the pure-hearted youth and her companions had already taken notice and rushed over. Draw it out, and you all deal with it alongside Little Green. Understood. In the next moment, 2 furious dragon roars erupted from the depths of the forest. 2 colossal figures pursued the innocent youth, who fled desperately towards the verdant green. The injured wooden dragon had by now regained a third of its vitality, while the other female dragon lay severely wounded, nearly drained of life. The abyssal shadow assassin's 2 backstabs had nearly claimed her life. Evolved into his complete form, the innocent youth was no longer the same boy he once was. His output could now be described as fearsome. The 2 wooden dragons closed in on him, but at that moment, the concealed green seized the opportunity. Vines erupted forth, sweeping towards the 2 dragons. The wooden dragons, having anticipated such a move, were well aware of Green's hiding place within the forest. Thus, when the vines surged towards them, they exhibited no panic, but instead positioned themselves to sever the tendrils. However, in the next instant, darkness enveloped their vision, and their bodies became rigid. Humph. Do you think I am invisible? The dagger of Eastern Roland slashed across both colossal dragons, blinding, maiming, and causing them to bleed profusely. In that fleeting moment of debilitation, the vines had already ensnared the wooden dragons. Instantly, they felt as if all their strength had been drained, collapsing helplessly to the ground. Father, mother, the wooden dragon, engaged in battle with the frostbone dragon, gasped in shock. He yearned to assist them, but the frostbone dragon held him firmly in place. Should he dare to escape, he would surely perish before his parents. In the forest, countless bone insects crawled forth, swiftly enveloping the 2 wooden dragons. In an instant, their vitality vanished, transforming into 2 beams of light that soared into Lu Yu's summoning space. The Thunder Dragon, taken aback, abandoned the pursuit of the thunder power. Just as the Thunderbone Dragon prepared to press the attack, the Thunder Dragon suddenly bellowed, "Wait, are you the Abyssal Summoner?" All movement ceased. "I am," Lu Yu replied candidly. "Then you are Clearwine." Indeed, Lu Yu revealed his ID. To his surprise, the Thunder Dragon displayed a peculiar expression. Moments later, it tempered its demeanor, saying, "Why didn't you say so earlier? Follow me. I shall take you to meet Sun Hanyu." What? Lu Yu was momentarily taken aback. What was the cause of this drastic shift in attitude? A trap? A delay tactic? A banquet of treachery? After a brief contemplation, Lu Yu decided to follow. The Dragon Clan had never been one to engage in underhanded schemes. Even if there were complications, he could escape in a short span of time. At the heart of the 10 Great Mountains lay a vast celestial lake. At that moment, an alluring maiden reclined within the waters of the lake, surrounding the celestial pool. Dozens of dragons infused it with energy. As the immense power flowed in, the dark aura enveloping the maiden began to dissipate gradually, and her tense expression slowly relaxed. Lu Yu found himself momentarily stunned by the scene before him. "Ah, this. Master," he began, but was promptly silenced by the Thunder Dragon, who whispered, "The treatment is nearing its conclusion. Your mentor will awaken shortly." Lu Yu wanted to express that he could also assist in dispelling the nether poison. However, since the Dragon Clan was already at the final stage, he deemed it unnecessary to intervene further. To his surprise, he had imagined that his mentor would have to hide cautiously on the Dragon Clan's territory, risking danger at any moment. Yet, it appeared that this was akin to returning home. He observed dozens of dragons, the lowest among them being of the 3rd transformation, with 2 even reaching the 4th transformation. It was no wonder that the earlier commotion had been so lively. It seemed that the dragons had been preoccupied with aiding his mentor in the detoxification process. Feeling a bit awkward, Lu Yu recalled that he had just engaged in a skirmish with the dragons outside, even capturing 2 3rd transformation wood dragons. However, the dragons were not entirely to blame, as they had initiated hostilities first. Lu Yu had originally sought to avoid conflict. The dragons slowly began to gather their energy, and the waters of the heavenly pool gradually calmed. Sun Hanyu opened her eyes, expressing her gratitude. "Thank you, esteemed elders, for assisting me with the detoxification." Laughter erupted around her. "Oh, it's nothing at all. You seldom come to visit," one dragon remarked. "Indeed, those old fellows often speak of you. Why don't you mention us more? You bring up our little Hanyu as if it were a daily ritual, yet here you feign modesty." "Naturally, I must speak of my grandson who travels with little Hanyu," another dragon retorted. Above the heavenly pool, dozens of massive dragons surrounded Sun Hanyu, exchanging playful jests. Lu Yu watched from below, somewhat speechless. If his mentor referred to these dragons as grandfathers, he would be compelled to address them as great-grandfathers. The Thunder Dragons soared into the air, conversing with the 2 4th transformation dragons, and soon, their chatter quieted. Sun Hanyu finally noticed Lu Yu and rushed over. "My dear disciple, what brings you here?" Lu Yu hesitated, unsure how to respond. Should he say he came to rescue her? That would be farcical. Yet, without that explanation, he had no other reason to be in the Dragon Clan, not even knowing its coordinates beforehand. After a moment of contemplation, he chose to reveal the truth. Upon hearing it, Sun Hanyu was at a loss for words. Her disciple was willing to risk everything to bring her back, which deeply moved her. "But your relationship with the Dragon Clan? Are you foolish? I have a dragon cub as my summoned beast. How could my ties with the Dragon Clan be poor? When I was young, I often returned here to converse with the Dragon Elders." "Wait, my dear disciple. You've reached level 85? How have you leveled up so quickly? Alas, have I hindered your 2nd advancement? You are aware of it. How do you converse with your mentor?" Lu Yu shrugged his shoulders. "Come here quickly. Let me facilitate your 2nd advancement first." Lu Yu was taken aback. This was not quite what he had anticipated. Nevertheless, he took a step forward, and Sun Hanyu placed her hand upon Lu Yu's forehead. A radiant light flickered, and a peculiar force erupted within Lu Yu's being, an experience he had not felt during his 1st advancement. Lu Yu opened his attribute panel. Profession, Abyss Summoner, 2nd advancement, Professional Talent 1. You may summon any unit you have slain, non-player, to fight for you, without limitation on numbers. Once a summoned unit perishes, it may be summoned again. Professional Talent 2. The experience gained by your summoned creatures can be temporarily stored, to be allocated by you as you see fit. Stored experience may only be utilized for your summoned creatures, not for other players or yourself. Professional Talent 3. If your summoned creature is a projection, you can trace the location of its original body through this projection. Professional Talent 4. Upon slaying a target, if abyssal energy resides within, you may choose to reclaim it. The first talent has undergone a transformation, allowing for renewed summoning, which implies that even if a projection meets its demise, it can be called forth again. However, Lu Yu's gaze fell upon the newly manifested 4th talent, the reclamation of abyssal energy, whose essence contains abyssal energy. While Lu Yu was uncertain about others, he was certain that those of the abyssal profession undoubtedly possessed such energy. The next time he encountered someone from the abyss, they would not escape his grasp. Lu Yu yearned to find Ming Hun and his companions immediately. Be they abyssal archers or abyssal artists, their talents were exceedingly practical. When you were young, you would come to play. Why have you grown distant now? Is it that we, the old ones, are a bother to you? A 4 advanced wood dragon remarked somewhat reproachfully as a multitude of dragons descended beside the heavenly pool. How could that be, Grandfather Wood Dragon? I do wish to return. It's just that the passage from my home to here seems to have inexplicably vanished. It is likely that the energy array maintaining it has worn out over the years. After all, many years have indeed passed. Speaking of years, the group of dragons fell into a contemplative silence. Noticing this, Sun Hanyu quickly grasped Lu Yu's hand. Grandfather Dragon. This is my disciple, named Qingjiu, an abyss summoner who has inherited the legacy of my great-grandfather. The dragon clan regarded Lu Yu with an array of complex expressions. Lu Yu offered a slight bow. Greetings, esteemed elders. I was previously unaware of the circumstances and apologize for any offense. As he spoke, he summoned 2 wooden dragons and chose to release them. Well, this can be considered an acquaintance born from conflict. The 4 advanced fire dragon showed no concern for the prior battle. The 2 released wooden dragons, upon seeing Lu Yu, prepared to charge at him, but were restrained by the 4 advanced wood dragon. It is evident that you are a true abyss summoner. The 4 transformation fire dragon and the 4 transformation wood dragon exchanged glances, prompting the other dragons to observe their companions. Our dragon clan has long refrained from involvement in the disputes among various races. However, there was a pact made long ago, stipulating that when a true abyss summoner arises, we must dispatch 5 adult dragons to serve under their command. Lu Yu was momentarily taken aback. This agreement was evidently not negotiated by Sun Tianhua, but was originally established by the inaugural abyss summoner in accord with the dragon clan. This covenant has likely endured through countless ages. It was unexpected that the dragon clan still remembers it and has chosen to voice it. This signifies their willingness to uphold the pact. In truth, even had they remained silent, Lu Yu would have had no means to discern that a similar agreement existed between the human and dragon clans. All the adult dragons of our clan are essentially present here. You may select any 5, including the 2 of us. However, you have just recently achieved the 2nd transformation, and thus, you lack the ability to command beings of our life tier. If you truly wish to take us with you, you must at least wait until you reach the 3rd transformation. Chapter 428. The meeting. The wood dragon spoke with an unperturbed tone. Lu Yu, however, felt somewhat embarrassed. Choosing from among them in their presence felt akin to an emperor selecting favorites. Under ordinary circumstances, this would not be an issue. But the relationship between Sun Hanyu and the dragon clan rendered Lu Yu quite uncomfortable. Rest assured, our dragon clan is not ungrateful, whoever you choose. We shall follow you without hesitation, the wood dragon assured. Lu Yu hesitated slightly. How about this? Is there anyone among you who is willing to follow me voluntarily? The myriad dragons exchanged glances. They had prepared themselves for selection, yet the sudden shift to actively volunteering caught them off guard. Lu Yu remained patient. Even if no dragon stepped forward, he had alternate plans. After a brief moment, a rock dragon emerged. I am willing to accompany you. Another dragon, shrouded in mist, also stepped forward. I too am willing. Both dragons were level 145, representing a moderate strength within the 3rd transformation. Thank you for your willingness, esteemed elders. Without further ado, the 2 dragons executed a self-detonation, leaving their life force at its last thread. Lu Yu brandished his staff, and the 2 flames of divine fire whisked the dragons away. 2 beams of light soared into Lu Yu's summoning space. With 3 spots remaining, the 4 transformation fire dragon remarked, since no one has volunteered, you may proceed to make your selections. Lu Yu shook his head. Given that the other esteemed elders are reluctant to follow me voluntarily, I do not wish to impose upon you. I would like to exchange the remaining 3 spots for something with the esteemed elders. The assembly of dragons looked on in confusion. Lu Yu summoned the Thunderbone dragon. This is a skeletal dragon I subdued from the Necromancer clan. As you can see, it is but a hair's breadth from the 4th transformation. I kindly request your assistance in helping me ascend to the 4th transformation. Lu Yu found himself unable to command a 4th transformation summon. However, if it has already become his summoned beast and is promoted to the 4th transition, there are no restrictions. The 4th transition fire dragon and the 4th transition wood dragon exchanged glances and nodded slightly. They then turned to the rest of the dragon clan. What are your thoughts? We can agree. The bone dragon is also a member of the dragon clan. Although its status within the clan is not particularly high, it is still one of their own. With the abyss summoner acting as a guarantor, this assembly of colossal dragons naturally had no objections. The 4th transition wood dragon smiled gently. Your choice is rather advantageous. Even if you were to select 5 3rd transition giant dragons, having a 4th transition dragon by your side would be far superior. However, it is only at level 159, falling short of the requirements for the 4th transition. We can assist it in achieving the 4th transition, but it must reach at least level 160 first. That is easily arranged. Lu Yu glanced at the experience reservoir within the summoning space, realizing that the stored experience had not been utilized for quite some time. He promptly decided to channel all the accumulated experience into the Thunderbone dragon. This was experience amassed over nearly half a month. Given all at once to the Thunderbone dragon, the experience bar for the Thunderbone dragon soared rapidly, ultimately stopping at level 160, perfectly precise. Neither too much nor too little. Now, all conditions are met. Go, proceed to the center of the heavenly pool, between the 10 peaks, and we shall assist you in completing your 4th transition. The 4th transition fire dragon, being rather impatient, urged to expedite the process now that all issues were resolved. The Thunderbone dragon, initially bewildered upon its emergence, became invigorated after hearing the exchanges among the dragons. It had thought that even if the fine wine could facilitate its fourth transition, it would require some time. To its surprise, it was about to ascend to the fourth transition so swiftly. It cast a deep glance at Lu Yu, then spread its wings and soared toward the heavenly pool. The assembly of colossal dragons also returned to their respective peaks. The energies of various elements surged once more, with the power of thunder being the most prominent. The fourth transition would take at least 1 to 2 hours. Sun Hanyu gazed at the Thunderbone dragon in the sky, smiling warmly at Lu Yu. Lu Yu found himself at a loss for words. Earlier, with the Dragon Clan present, there were things he could not say, but now. Mentor, are you already aware of Sun Tianhua's situation? Yes, I am aware. Indeed, the truth cannot remain hidden. Earlier, Sun Hanyu had unhesitatingly guided Lu Yu through the second transition. However, it is essential to note that Lu Yu's first transition was completed with Sun Hanyu taking him back to the Sun family's little realm. At that time, it was also stated that the second transition would require a return home. Yet, just now, Sun Hanyu had not mentioned returning home at all, directly completing Lu Yu's second transition. This indicated that Sun Hanyu knew Sun Tianhua was no longer within the little realm. In fact, I sensed at the moment your great-grandfather emerged with you, though I was not entirely certain. Until you mentioned that the Son of the Abyss nearly obliterated my home. I had returned once more to confirm my suspicions. Living alongside my great-grandfather and the one who deliberately concealed himself from me were two entirely different experiences, Lu Yu remarked. However, this is indeed a joyous revelation, for it indicates that my great-grandfather is a genuine individual and not merely an NPC executing a predetermined script. Sun Hanyu flashed a playful smile at Lu Yu. Thus, my dear disciple, I must express my gratitude. When might I have the chance to meet my great-grandfather? No, I refuse to meet. Sun Tianhua bellowed within the summoning space, feeling utterly humiliated. He had believed himself to be perfectly hidden, only to discover that his granddaughter had already unraveled the truth. Meeting now would surely spell disaster for him. With a single wave of his hand, Lu Yu summoned Sun Tianhua to stand before Sun Hanyu. You two converse. I shall check on the progress of the Thunderbone Dragon's advancement. Lu Yu made his swift exit. Given the circumstances, Sun Hanyu could no longer afford to keep Sun Tianhua concealed within the summoning space. As for the emotions that might arise from their encounter, that was for them to explore. He would not interfere. Lu Yu then found the pure-hearted youth and his companions, who had been waiting for quite some time. Fearing potential dangers earlier, he had refrained from bringing them along. Now that safety was assured, he recounted the events that had transpired. That troublesome girl. I was so worried about her, only to find she was here enjoying a hot spring, exclaimed Dongfang Roland in frustration. Sun Hanyu's projection sighed in relief. Now that my true self is unharmed, I must return. My absence as the boss cannot linger. Lu Yu nodded as the abyssal passage opened, allowing Sun Hanyu's projection to depart. Dongfang Roland followed suit, leaving only Lu Yu and the pure-hearted youth standing in place. Brother, what shall we do next? We wait for the Thunderbone Dragon to complete its fourth transformation, then we shall head to the Giant Clan. Brother, are you going to the Giant Clan? Not I, but I suspect my mentor intends to go. Chapter 429. The Thunderbone Dragon's fourth transformation. Lu Yu deliberately waited at a distance for an extended period. He dispatched the Frostbone Dragon multiple times to discreetly observe, ensuring that both Sun Tianhua and Sun Hanyu had regained their composure before he returned to the heavenly pool with the pure-hearted youth. The elder and the youth stood together, a hint of awkwardness lingering in the air. This tension was reignited when Lu Yu approached. Sun Hanyu recalled her previous confessions about her feelings towards her great-great-grandfather, and now, with the subject present, she felt a blush of embarrassment. Meanwhile, Sun Tianhua was preoccupied with thoughts of how to marry off his granddaughter. Taking advantage of the remaining connections my grandfather has, we must act swiftly. Did you not observe how proactive that young lady beside him was? The four of us stood in silence, the air thick with tension. The celestial pond blazed with fervor, thunder rumbling ominously, while the atmosphere beside the pond was so still that one could hear a pin drop. Ahem, I have some matters to attend to, so I shall take my leave. Sun Tianhua was the first to falter, retreating into Lu Yu's summoning space. Lu Yu, with a look of resignation, thought to himself, do you truly have business? Is it to engage in conversation with Widow Wang, or to watch the mermaid bathe? Once Sun Tianhua departed, the heavy atmosphere began to lighten. Sun Hanyu took a deep breath, adjusting her emotions. My dear disciple, I did not foresee your rapid advancement, not long ago. You possessed merely a newly evolved Frostbone Dragon, and now you are on the verge of acquiring a Thunderbone Dragon. The pressure on me as your mentor is considerable. Lu Yu glanced at Sun Hanyu. Indeed, it is quite substantial. Mentor, I heard you were gravely injured by the Goblin tribe. How did you come to be afflicted by the nether poison? Alas, do not bring it up. At the mention of the incident, Sun Hanyu became indignant. That frenzied goblin was nearly defeated by me, just as I was poised to deliver the final blow. He produced a vial of nether poison. Had it not been for my companion, I would not have survived to reach the dragon's nest. I have learned that the Nether tribe has allied with the goblins, intending to join forces with the undead to deliver a devastating strike against humanity. Lu Yu raised an eyebrow. This is indeed significant intelligence. The alliance of two major races, potentially with a third joining, implies that 3 of the 4 great races have united. Moreover, they are planning an attack against humanity? Wait a moment. Lu Yu suddenly recalled the reason for seeking out Sun Hanyu. A third-tier goblin assassin had informed her of Sun Hanyu's grievous injuries. The team that assaulted the forging camp was composed of various races, boasting an impressive lineup, including 2 third-tier members. These were the most elite forces capable of crossing racial barriers to infiltrate humanity. Surely, what Sun Hanyu referred to as a major movement against humanity is related to this. Unbeknownst to me, had I inadvertently averted a significant crisis? This left Lu Yu both amused and exasperated. The concern that had recently gripped him now eased. Nonetheless, the matter of the alien alliance must be taken seriously. Even before the abyss descends, the extraterrestrial races have begun to conspire. Lu Yu's rise has unsettled those with ill intentions among the alien races. While humanity's strength is rapidly advancing, the extraterrestrial factions are also busy forging alliances. This is a confrontation akin to a clash of titans. However, with Lu Yu among humanity and the Dragon Domain Wall project underway, we possess a natural advantage. As long as we can subdue more races before the racial barriers are opened, the scales of victory will tip in favor of humanity. Above the heavenly pool, the convergence of various energies gradually subsided, giving rise to an even more formidable power that was slowly brewing. This heralded the impending breakthrough of the Thunderbone Dragon, poised to shatter the shackles of life and ascend to the 4th transformation. A flicker of excitement stirred within Lu Yu's heart. At long last, he too would possess a 4th-tier summoned beast, establishing a firm foothold even amidst the abyss. Boom! The sky erupted with thunder. The resounding roar seemed capable of fracturing the heavens. Surrounding the Thunderbone Dragon, flashes of lightning danced, and the electric aura lingered for quite some time before slowly dissipating. Lu Yu accessed the control panel for the Thunderbone Dragon and smiled faintly. He maintained absolute dominion over it. With mastery over even the life and death within the small abyss, there was little reason to believe that a 4th-tier bone dragon could evade his grasp. The Thunderbone Dragon descended slightly from above the heavenly pool, its speed unparalleled. Thank you, Master. It bowed its head to Lu Yu, willingly. Its greatest aspiration had always been to ascend to the 4th transformation. Previously oppressed by the Bone King, it had missed countless opportunities for advancement. Today, it finally saw its wish fulfilled, resulting in a profound transformation of its very existence. Lu Yu nodded approvingly. Excellent. From now on, you shall personally slay the Bone King for me. As you command. The Thunderbone Dragon's long-held desire had just been realized, and Lu Yu immediately set a new objective for it. The goal was perfectly suited, given the dragon's history of oppression by the Bone King. Having a purpose instilled motivation, driving it to exert greater effort in its endeavors. In the sky, a host of dragons returned, appearing significantly more fatigued than before. With the Thunderbone Dragon having completed its 4th transformation, we can consider our promise fulfilled, Lu Yu said, bowing slightly. The 4th-tier fire dragon and wood dragon nodded in satisfaction. This human was quite remarkable. Not only was he a powerful abyss summoner, but he was also remarkably courteous. By the way, has little you given birth yet? Grandfather Dragon, now that the matter is settled, we shall take our leave. Huh, departing so soon? You've barely stayed for a while. I am now level 120 and must find a place to complete my 3rd transformation. I shall visit you again once I achieve it. The 2 4th-tier dragons' expressions shifted upon hearing about the location for the 3rd transformation. Very well. But do remember to return often. Here, take this. The fire dragon said, producing a stone infused with various elemental energies. This is something we old fellows fashioned just in passing. With it, you can transcend barriers and arrive directly among the dragon kin. Thank you, Grandfather Dragon. Sun Hanyu carefully tucked the stone away. After solemnly bidding farewell to all the great dragons, she turned to Lu Yu and said, "Let us go, my dear disciple. Lead me to the next destination." Without needing Sun Hanyu to specify, Lu Yu already knew where they were headed. What are the coordinates? Sun Hanyu announced a coordinate. And the abyss passage opened, allowing 3 individuals to enter in succession. Observing the retreating figures of Sun Hanyu and her companions, the 4-turn fire dragon could not help but remark to the wood dragon beside him. Do you not feel that little you and this abyss summoner are quite well matched? I concur, yet there is another girl accompanying him. What of it? We could simply deal with that girl. I noticed that she, too, is of the abyss profession, a shadow assassin. Well, to be honest, if we allow little you to take the lead and that girl to follow, it should work out fine. Come now, do you have nothing better to do? We just expended a great deal of dragon chi and need to find a way to replenish it. Matters of procreation should be left to the younger generation to contemplate. Chapter 430. The Giant King's Court. Sun Hanyu's face flushed with embarrassment as the innocent youth covered his face, while Lu Yu pretended as if nothing had transpired and walked at the forefront. Internally, he seethed with frustration. Did those ancient dragons not consider waiting until the subjects of their gossip had moved further away? Goodness. They had barely stepped into the abyss passage when he overheard the 2 dragons discussing matters of procreation. Moreover, given the dragon's considerable size, their voices resonated loudly. Even if they spoke softly, Lu Yu and the others could hear them clearly. Ahem, my dear disciple, they are merely jesting. You know how dragons can be. Do not take it to heart. Sun Hanyu attempted to dispel the awkward atmosphere. I understand, Minter. However, after spending so much time with my bone dragon, I have not perceived it as particularly lascivious. Since your companion is a bone dragon, and moreover, 2 male dragons at that, there is little room for such inclinations. Minter, we are indeed heading to the Giant King's court, correct? You are aware of the Giant King's court? Quite impressive. There exists a stone circle within the Giant King's court, said to be an ancient relic, specifically designed for the class transition of those without a profession. For transitioning those without a profession? Indeed, the giant race primarily comprises individuals without professions, yet even those like myself, who lack a third transition pathway, can utilize the stone circle for class transition. Lu Yu was hearing of the stone circle for the first time. Previously, he had only known that the Giant King's court was replete with treasures, brimming with various celestial artifacts, and even equipment surpassing celestial quality. He had not anticipated the presence of a stone circle that could assist in class transitions. Upon exiting the Abyss Passage, an immense palace came into view. The term large was an understatement. The palace was nearly the size of Lingfeng City. Standing before the palace's entrance, Lu Yu felt as insignificant as an ant. How do we even enter? I would rather not be crushed underfoot. Ride a dragon? That would only hasten our demise. The animosity between the giants and the dragon race had persisted since ancient times, a feud that seemed destined to endure without resolution. Daring to ride a dragon within the realm of giants, even a 4th-tier Thunderbone dragon, would result in a swift and brutal demise, followed by the unfortunate fate of being stewed for broth. Sun Hanyu was well prepared. She raised her hand to summon a petite pink bat, placing it near her lips. Grandfather Dolly, little Yu has come to chat with you. The resounding call echoed throughout the palace. Moments later, the palace resonated with urgent, thunderous footsteps. Little Yu had arrived. The young girl had finally remembered her grandfather. Slow down. Be careful not to step on the little one. Gently open the door, gently. The grand entrance of the palace creaked open, revealing a giant clad in regal attire. He bent down, scrutinizing Sun Hanyu with keen interest. In that instant, Lu Yu recalled a saying. On that day, people remembered the dread of being governed by giants. However, this giant, upon recognizing Sun Hanyu, broke into a warm smile. Ha ha. Little girl, you still remember to come. I've missed you dearly. Come here, let grandfather have a look at you. You are growing ever more enchanting. Sun Hanyu chuckled, pointing at Lu Yu. Grandfather Dolly, I am no longer a little girl. I have taken on a disciple, and he is my apprentice. Oh my little Yu has become so formidable. Let me see who is fortunate enough to be accepted as her disciple. Be cautious, dear, do not take just any apprentice. Those lacking talent will only be a burden. The giant turned his gaze towards Lu Yu. He looks passable, but I wonder about his abilities and profession. The mighty giant's eyes widened in astonishment. Hey, Abyss Summoner? Lu Yu remained slightly bowed. Greetings, esteemed elder. Ha. Welcome. Come in and take a seat. Servants, quickly prepare a feast. Today marks the celebration of our royal court. The mighty giant lifted Sun Hanyu with one hand, while holding Lu Yu and the innocent youth with the other. As they entered the royal court, the giant guards promptly closed the grand doors behind them. Soon, a lavish banquet was laid out within the court, featuring an array of dishes that Lu Yu had never encountered before. The flavors were not exquisite, but certainly palatable. Sun Hanyu perched upon the giant's shoulder, munching on delicacies while conversing with her grandfather. Meanwhile, Lu Yu and the innocent youth were guided by a servant to explore the royal court. Compared to dragons, the number of giants appeared more abundant. However, among them, those reaching the 3rd tier were scarce, and so far, Lu Yu had only encountered King Dali as a 4th-tier giant. Nevertheless, the royal court indeed lived up to its legendary reputation, with celestial artifacts visible everywhere, their sheer quantity leaving one in awe. Lu Yu could only watch helplessly. For these celestial artifacts were all fashioned to suit the massive physiques of giants. Even a mere ring stood half a human tall. Initially, he had hoped to leverage his connection with Sun Hanyu to procure some equipment to take back, but upon closer inspection, he decided against it. The banquet lasted a full night, during which Sun Hanyu engaged in conversation with grandfather Dali. Lu Yu, feeling rather bored, sat at the dining table, silently observing the interaction between the grandfather and granddaughter. It was difficult to fathom how Sun Hanyu navigated so effortlessly between 2 rival races. Both factions were aware of her amicable relations with the other, yet curiously, neither seemed offended. Rather, there was an underlying tone of rivalry and jealousy. What? You sought healing from those great lizards? Why not come to grandfather Dali first? His royal court possesses herbs capable of counteracting poison. Yet, the affliction in question was the nether poison, which could only be addressed by the great lizards. Grandfather Dali, I have come for your assistance regarding a matter that the Dragon Clan cannot help me with. Oh, ha, I thought as much. Those great lizards cannot compare to your grandfather Dali. Speak freely, little Yu. I shall certainly oblige. Grandfather Dali, I wish to undergo a 3rd transformation using the stone circle. Chapter 431. the stone circle to utilize the stone circle for a third transformation? King Dali's expression shifted to one of surprise. Your family, yes. His words trailed off abruptly as he cast a discreet glance at Lu Yu, deep in thought. You understand that transforming through the stone circle always carries risks. Are you mentally prepared? Grandfather Dali, is there anything that can daunt little you? Ha ha ha, splendid. My little you remains so resolute. Bring forth the preparations to activate the stone circle. Utilize the finest materials for the formation, ensuring that the risk is minimized. Yes, several giants descended to make the necessary arrangements. Come, little you. I shall personally escort you into the stone circle. King Dali rose, carrying Sun Hanyu away from the banquet. Lu Yu also stood, addressing the attending giant. Let us proceed as well. The serving giant hesitated, esteemed guest. Our giant clan's stone circle has never permitted outsiders to observe. Lu Yu furrowed his brow. Though he did not suspect any ill intent from the giant clan towards Sun Hanyu, the thought of waiting outside while his mentor underwent a transformation left him uneasy. Let them join as well. He is little Yu's disciple. There is no need for secrecy. King Dali decreed, stating that Lu Yu was Sun Hanyu's disciple, thus allowing him to witness the stone circle. This was merely a superficial justification. The true reason was understood by both parties involved. Understood. The attending giants lifted Lu Yu and the innocent youth, following closely behind King Dali. The stone circle lay beyond the realm of the giant king. Long ago, a giant opened the gates of the royal court, allowing Lu Yu and his companions to step out onto a vast, open plain. Within this expanse, towering monoliths rose majestically, forming an immense circle. Each of these stones resembled a small mountain, not intended for mere mortals, but rather for giants. Between the monoliths, intricate patterns of runes were clearly visible. These designs were meticulously etched using powdered Tianji stone combined with various rare materials. Upon the surfaces of the stones, similar patterns shimmered under the nascent sun, exuding an aura of mystery and grandeur. This was indeed the stone circle. Lu Yu gazed from a distance, feeling a subtle yet profound impact on his spirit. Even from afar, the sensation was exhilarating. Standing at the center of the stone circle would undoubtedly amplify the pressure manifold. The dangers spoken of by the King of Giants were far from mere rhetoric. Should one's mental fortitude fall short, the repercussions could render one senseless under such intense strain. Sun Hanyu maintained a stoic expression, having prepared herself mentally long before. This was not her first encounter with the stone circle. Her grandfather, the King of Giants, had brought her here in her youth. She even bore witness to giants undergoing their second transformation within this very site. It was here that she summoned her diminutive companion to assist in her own transformation. With measured steps, the King of Giants entered the stone circle, gently cradling Sun Hanyu and carefully placing her at the very center of the formation. This spot will exert the greatest impact on your body, yet it is also the most conducive for your third transformation. If the pressure becomes unbearable, you may summon your companion as your summoned beast. He can help you withstand the stress without hindering your transformation. However, I advise against doing so initially, lest you succumb to the final surge. Do you understand? Rest assured. Grandfather, I comprehend fully, Sun Hanyu replied. The King of Giants wished to impart more advice, but upon realizing that this little girl had evolved from the tearful child of yore, he could not help but chuckle and shake his head. Then I shall step outside. Once you complete your third transformation, I will present you with a gift. Is that agreeable? Absolutely. Sun Hanyu beamed with delight. Lu Yu observed that, whether among the Dragon Clan or the Giant Clan, his mentor would occasionally reveal her youthful side. It seemed that she allowed herself to be vulnerable in his presence as well. The King of Giants exited the stone circle and waved his hand, initiating subtle changes within. A radiant aura enveloped the entire formation, obscuring the events unfolding within. All that could be discerned was that Sun Hanyu's third transformation had commenced. The King of Giants approached Lu Yu. The true peril of this formation lies during the fourth transformation. While the third will indeed challenge one's mental resilience, the risks remain comparatively limited. Moreover, Xiaoyu has always possessed a strong-willed temperament. Her resolve is unwavering, and there is no doubt she will prevail. King Dali was uncertain whether he was elucidating this to Lu Yu or merely reassuring himself. Lu Yu nodded slightly, convinced that a mere third transformation would not render his mentor a vegetative state. Nevertheless, a degree of apprehension lingered. Sun Hanyu, his steadfast mentor who had supported him throughout, was, although officially an NPC, cherished in Lu Yu's heart as akin to family. Within the formation, the energy fluctuations intensified. Both Lu Yu and King Dali fixated intently on the reactions of the colossal stone array. You must be the true Abyss Summoner. King Dali abruptly broke the silence. Lu Yu harbored no secrets. Perhaps upon first entering the game he had been oblivious, but now he held no doubts regarding this matter. I am indeed the true Abyss Summoner. A sigh of relief escaped King Dali, though he had suspected as much. Hearing this affirmation stirred his spirit. After many years, the human race had finally witnessed the emergence of a genuine Abyss Summoner once more. Then you must be aware of Xiao Yu's grandfather, he continued. Lu Yu nodded. And do you know that Lord Sun might still exist in some form? There is such speculation. King Dali regarded Lu Yu with surprise. What leads you to this conjecture? Because his second transformation avatar remains within my summoning space. A certain follower, who ought to have perished long ago, is still crafting the Great Wall Cannon for me, for I am the true Abyss Summoner. King Dali fell into silence, and after a moment, he nodded thoughtfully. Our giant clan once made a pact with the Abyss Summoners. When they are in need, we shall send 5 of our finest warriors to serve them. A similar accord exists with the Dragon Clan. The elder who established this agreement between our two clans was indeed a visionary. The Dragon Clan and the Giant Clan are two remarkable lineages. However, my ancestors were somewhat dissatisfied with this covenant upon encountering Lord Sundayham. Chapter 432. A new covenant. Lu Yu refrained from speaking or casting a glance at King Dali, instead keeping his gaze fixed ahead, awaiting the continuation of the discourse. Logically, as a true Abyss Summoner arriving among our Giant Clan, we should gather all our warriors for your selection. Yet, I do not intend to do so at this moment. It may amuse you to know that among our generation, I am the only one who has attained the 4th transformation. However, we can still muster a couple of dozen 3rd transformations. Allowing you to take 5 is not out of the question. I trust you have already taken 5 dragons from the Dragon Clan. Lu Yu offered no rebuttal nor explanation. However, I wish to draft a new covenant with you in my capacity as the king of the Giant Clan. Today, you do not take away the warriors of my clan. However, when the time comes, all the warriors of my clan shall fight for you. In return, once the human race unifies the Abyss once more, you must promise me to assist in the revival of the Giant Clan. King Dali gazed at Lu Yu, awaiting his response. Lu Yu fixed his gaze forward, offering no reply. It appeared to be an exceptionally lucrative deal. With the entire Giant Clan support, their power would match that of the 4 great races. The only requirement was to elevate the average level of mainstream players to around level 70 before the racial barrier opened, ensuring the human race's invincibility. Yet, King Dali added a condition, to aid in the rejuvenation of the Giant Clan. This was an entirely ambiguous demand. To what extent would this revival be measured? Would it involve nurturing a 4th transition for the Giant Clan, or would it mean elevating their strength to be on par with that of the human race? Such an agreement, bound by the forces of the Abyss, would leave no room for renegotiation once accepted. After all, why would the majority of dragons, who were reluctant to leave their nests, present themselves as if they were up for selection? Of course, should you refuse to establish a new treaty. Once Xiao Yu completes her ascension, I shall adhere to our previous agreement and allow you to take 5 of my clan's warriors. Lu Yu's silence instilled a sense of tension in King Dali. For if Lu Yu truly chose to uphold the original agreement, he would have the power to select his king. The Giant Clan would be left with only 1/4 transition if he were to depart, and the Dragon Clan came seeking them. It would spell disaster for their lineage. I can establish a new treaty with you. Lu Yu finally spoke, relieving King Dali's anxiety. However, I shall not agree to assist in the revival of the Giant Clan. I promise only that if the Giant Clan is willing to follow me as a whole, I will ensure their strength is not inferior to that of the Dragon Clan. Not inferior to the Dragon Clan. This was an alluring proposition for the current Giant Clan, whose overall strength had fallen far short of the Dragon Clan's, possibly only reaching half of their might. Lu Yu's assurance that their power could rival that of the dragons was undoubtedly a tremendous temptation. Yet, King Dali, as the supreme leader of the Giant Clan, was no fool. Lu Yu's statement bore evident loopholes. Not inferior to the Dragon Clan could mean elevating the Giant Clan's strength to match that of the dragons. Or it could involve diminishing the dragon's prowess to the current state of the giants. While both scenarios would be cause for celebration for the giants, there existed another possibility, the weakening of both races to a state of extreme fragility. Especially if the Giant Clan truly intended to follow Lu Yu as one. It would require immense sacrifice. A war between races is not concluded with the death of 1 or 2 individuals. Even the complete annihilation of a certain race would not be surprising. When the day arrives that humanity truly regains control over the entire Abyss, will the giant race still possess the same strength as they do now? This is a question worthy of reflection. The suggestion posed by the King of Strength has now placed him in a predicament. Lu Yu smiled faintly, fully aware of the inner turmoil of the king at this moment. If he were to agree to this treaty, it would merely be a gamble on Lu Yu's character. Yet, when it comes to the survival of a race, who would dare to wager on a single individual's integrity? The giant race requires Abyss Summoners. But Lu Yu equally needs the combat prowess of the giants. I can assure you of one thing. Once humanity achieves unification, should the giant race show signs of decline, I will personally assist in cultivating a 4th transition for you. Lu Yu expressed his sincerity. After all, he had just helped the dragon race cultivate a 4th transition. Assisting the giants in achieving the same was not a daunting task. Upon hearing Lu Yu's final promise, the King of Strength gritted his teeth and declared, "Very well. Let it be so. As long as a race possesses a 4th transition, it shall not decline." Lu Yu nodded in agreement. In an inexplicable manner, it felt as though something had shifted. It was a peculiar sensation that Lu Yu could not quite articulate, yet it felt oddly familiar. Buzzing. The stone array resonated with a tremendous hum. Xiao Yu was transitioning into the final stage. The King of Strength clenched his fists. This was the most critical and perilous moment. If they could not withstand it, even if the final transition succeeded, it would only result in becoming a mere puppet. Within the stone array, the figure of Sun Hanyu grew increasingly indistinct. Suddenly, a silhouette far larger than Sun Hanyu emerged. With this appearance, the King of Strength felt a wave of relief wash over him. Lu Yu too relaxed somewhat. Sun Hanyu summoned her little companion. With its support, she should be able to endure the final stage. The intricate patterns of the stone array began to illuminate with brilliant light, even more dazzling than the rising sun. A pure white beam of light shot skyward, and the stone array erupted with tremendous energy. It succeeded. The King of Strength shouted in excitement, followed by hearty laughter as he ran towards the stone array. Lu Yu and the innocent youth, with the giant's assistance, approached the exterior of the stone array. Inside, Sun Hanyu collapsed to the ground, utterly exhausted. However, her gaze remained bright and spirited. The King of Strength lifted Sun Hanyu in his arms, exclaiming, "I knew my little you could do it." Ha ha. Sun Hanyu first glanced at Lu Yu, then turned to the King of Strength and asked, "Grandpa Dolly, what about the gift you promised me?" Ha ha. Grandpa will call him over right away. The mighty king beckoned, and a diminutive giant, barely half his height, hurried over. This small giant possessed the greatest talent among the giants. How about I present him to you as your new summoned beast? Chapter 433. The Little Giant Wu. The little giant appeared somewhat uneasy. His origins were humble, yet he had been endowed with immense strength since childhood. At merely 5 years of age, he had already grown to the stature of a teenager. The mighty king had personally trained him in skills and strength, making him an unparalleled talent among the new generation of giants. Did Grandpa Mighty intend for him to become my summoned beast? But I already have Little Dot. Little Dot is Little Dot. Once you complete your third transformation, you will certainly gain several additional summoning slots, making it just right. Although Wu is currently only at level 79, his growth attributes are exceptionally high, and he will not fall short of Little Dot in the future. Sun Hanyu remained somewhat hesitant. Her summoned beasts had always followed an exceptional path. During her second transformation, each beast she summoned possessed second-tier strength and was among the finest in that category. Now that she had completed her third transformation, she wished to elevate her existing summoned beasts to the third tier before considering the acquisition of new ones. Moreover, most critically, Wu was not pink. However, seeing Grandpa Mighty so enthusiastic, Sun Hanyu felt it would be impolite to decline. Just as she was wavering, an idea suddenly illuminated her mind. Grandpa Mighty, if you let Wu accompany me, does that mean he will heed my commands? Of course, he replied. Excellent. Come here, Wu. Let me introduce you to your new master. Sun Hanyu pointed to Lu Yu. From now on, you will be training alongside my disciple, who is destined to become the most formidable summoner. By following him, you will surely grow into an exceptional giant. Lu Yu? The mighty king sighed inwardly, realizing why it was said that a girl should not be kept. He had just entrusted his prized young talent to this girl, only for her to promptly bestow him upon another. In fact, it had not even been a proper turn. It was done right before his eyes. Taking a deep breath, the mighty king felt a draft through his cherished little cotton jacket. However, since the gift had already been given, could he truly reclaim it? At least it was given to a summoner from the abyss, and not just anyone, but Sun Hanyu's disciple, which was not entirely unfavorable. Furthermore, this abyss summoner had pledged to cultivate a fourth-tier giant for their clan, so overall, the situation was still acceptable. Yet, despite being acceptable, the mighty king could not help but feel a twinge of dissatisfaction. Alas, who could blame him when little Yu was his granddaughter? Ultimately, the mighty king sighed and acquiesced to the matter. Lu Yu called Wu to his side. He indeed had no giant summoned beasts. Since this was a gift from Sun Hanyu, he naturally would not be rude. My method of taming summoned beasts is rather unique. Soon, I shall engage you in combat. So do not resist. Lu Yu had preemptively prepared Xiao Wu for the challenges ahead, aware that this little giant was still rather immature in his mindset. He genuinely feared that, upon facing an attack, Xiao Wu might instinctively retaliate. Xiao Wu nodded earnestly. The mighty king had already informed him of the events that would transpire today, and he was willing to become a summoned beast. From a young age, he had been taught that in order to confront the dragon clan, one must possess formidable strength. Following a summoner would enable him to acquire such power swiftly. Although he could not fully comprehend why his once beautiful sister figure had transformed into a man, he refrained from questioning it further. Especially since the enchanting lady had assured him that this man was destined to become the most powerful summoner, and by his side, he could also become the mightiest giant. Lu Yu summoned Xiao Lu. Without invoking the dragon clan, Xiao Lu was the least conspicuous among Lu Yu's third-tier summoned beasts. Green tendrils enveloped Xiao Wu, swiftly draining the vitality from his body. It was an agonizing process, yet Xiao Wu remained silent. Soon, his immense form vanished, transformed into a beam of light that soared into Lu Yu's summoning space. Lu Yu nodded, pleased with Xiao Wu's temperament. However, the next moment, he found himself at a loss for words. As soon as Xiao Wu entered the summoning space, he immediately caught the attention of 4 colossal dragons. They encircled him, poised to strike. Despite his lower level, Xiao Wu exhibited no fear, his gaze fervently fixated on the dragons, eager to engage in battle. Was the enmity between these two clans truly so profound? Even after becoming summoned beasts, they still harbored intentions to fight. Lu Yu hurriedly separated Xiao Wu from the 4 dragons, erecting a massive barrier between them to prevent any confrontation. The tense atmosphere in the summoning space began to ease. Sun Hanyu would not encounter such issues. Each of her summoned beasts possessed a unique summoning spot, rendering them unable to see one another. Xiao Wu was currently at level 79, and his lack of a second-tier transformation was likely due to his not having defeated the corporeal form of an alien species. Lu Yu glanced at the experience reservoir above the summoning space, which was filled with a substantial amount of stored experience. Xiao Jinwu and the other summoned beasts had been engaged in hunts within the nature tribe, and the experience they amassed had been funneled into the reservoir. Lu Yu allocated all this experience to Xiao Wu. His experience bar surged, swiftly surpassing level 80, thus meeting the requirements for a second-tier transformation. Mighty King, I would like to request the use of your noble stone circle. You wish to use the stone circle? The Mighty King regarded Lu Yu with suspicion. You are only level 90, far from the requirements for a third-tier transformation. Recklessly using the stone circle could be detrimental. It is not for me, it is for him. Lu Yu summoned Xiao Wu, who had undergone his second transformation, seemingly only able to perform it within the stone circle. The King of Strength gazed in astonishment at the level 80 Xiao Wu. In just a matter of seconds, Lu Yu had elevated Xiao Wu by one level, achieving the most challenging ascent prior to the second transformation. The Abyssal Summoner, indeed, possessed a terrifying prowess. The records of this profession in the clan's ancient texts were, it seemed, overly conservative. Not a problem, of course, he affirmed. Xiao Wu, being a member of the giant race and a disciple of the King of Strength, had his mentor's unwavering support for his advancement to the second transformation. As Xiao Wu stepped into the stone circle, the formation activated once more. However, this time, no one awaited outside. The process of second transformation bore no significant peril, and with Xiao Wu's innate talent, he could effortlessly accomplish it. Everyone returned to the Giant King's court in advance, and the banquet resumed. Sun Hanyu completed her third transformation, and the King of Strength appeared exceedingly pleased. His demeanor towards Lu Yu grew notably warm, frequently inviting him into conversations. Lu Yu engaged half-heartedly, feeling increasingly bored. He had already explored the Giant King's court and satiated his hunger. Now, he merely wished to depart. Had it not been for Sun Hanyu still conversing with the King of Strength, he would have summoned Xiao Shen Yuan to leave. Finally, after half a day's festivities, Sun Hanyu expressed her desire to leave. The King of Strength earnestly tried to persuade her to stay, but recognized that she had lingered for quite some time. Ultimately, with the reluctant gaze of the king upon them, Lu Yu escorted Sun Hanyu, the pure-hearted youth, and Xiao Wu out of the Giant King's court. Master, I shall first escort you back to the City of Unity. During your absence, many events have transpired among the human race. Very well. Returning to the City of Unity was Sun Hanyu's foremost choice. As the city's lord, her extended absence warranted a return to assess the situation. The moment Lu Yu exited the Abyssal Passage, he was immediately bombarded with a barrage of messages. Having been cut off from information during his time with the alien races, he was now inundated with updates from the past few days. Chapter 434. Earth Lizard Brother Yu. We have captured a quarter of the natural race's territory, and the seeds are being collected gradually. Today, 2 squads of the Nether race's assassins attempted to ambush our Great Wall cannons, but we detected and eliminated them in advance. Today, the alien races have shown no activity, and our sweep of the natural race has been quite effortless. We have completed a third of the operation. Yet, I can't shake the feeling that today has been a bit too smooth. Brother Yu, trouble has arisen. The natural race has launched a counterattack. They have somehow managed to gather in large numbers and ambush 2 of our Great Wall cannons. These plants can move. Our situation is beginning to turn passive. Qingjiu, where are you now? Latest news. The Beastmen have deployed a contingent of earth lizards, capable of manipulating the soil to assist these plants in their movement. For the time being, we can still keep them at bay, but the situation is becoming rather precarious. The last 2 pieces of information arrived half a day ago. It is evident that the alien races, having found assassination attempts ineffective, have begun to alter their strategy. Although the nature tribe has lost nearly half of its territory, it remains a formidable intermediate race. Previously, they were mere stationary targets, but with the ability to move, their combat strength can no longer be underestimated. Even with the Great Wall cannons in place, the human race may not gain substantial advantages. You have returned. The message from Wuxing immediately arrived. How are things progressing? Not well. The nature tribe's counterattack is quite fierce. Of our 65 artillery regiments, 15 have already been taken out by them. However, their losses are significant as well. We currently occupy half of the territory and are locked in a stalemate. Fortunately, with the presence of the little golden crow, the advantage still lies with us. Yet, according to the latest intelligence, the Earth Lizards are aiding them in gathering more strength, intending to encircle us. The Earth Lizards hail from the Beastmen. The Beastmen and the Beastfolk are inextricably linked, with the latter being a unique branch of the former. Now, this 4th major race of the Abyss has finally revealed itself. Calculating the time, 4 days have already passed since the 10-day deadline. There is still ample time, but if we remain in this stalemate, it is unlikely we will conquer the entire nature tribe in the remaining 6 days. Failing to control all the territory would mean that these past few days' efforts would be in vain. Earth Lizards, how contemptible. Lu Yu scoffed disdainfully. Give me the coordinates. I shall head there immediately. Wuxing swiftly transmitted a coordinate. Lu Yu summoned the little abyss, first opening a passage to the dwarven race, then directly arriving at the coordinate location from there. You have arrived. Wuxing exclaimed with excitement upon seeing Lu Yu. Bamboo has taken a team to the western front, where a vast number of plants are attempting to flank us from behind. A sand table was set up, a battle tool provided by Duan Shuchen, capable of relaying real-time battlefield information. According to Duan Shuchen, this sand table is a masterpiece of his peak period, and he can no longer produce a second one. Its only drawback is the limited area it can cover. Lu Yu easily located Chun Zhu's position on the sand table. They had already intertwined with a mass of green gravel, indicating that combat had commenced. From the sand table's perspective, Chun Zhu and his team were still in a favorable position, having dispersed the group of green gravel. Chun Zhu was leading the summoned beasts in a victorious pursuit. Lu Yu furrowed his brow. Wuxing, did you not mention that there were numerous plants flanking from that direction? Why does the sand table show only this small amount? Unfazed by the world's chaos, he furrowed his brow. Something's amiss. Just moments ago, my foolish father mentioned that there are at least tens of thousands of plants. Why does the sand table reveal so few? Has that old fool's vision truly dimmed? Before he could continue his lamentations, a vast expanse of ordinary sand at the edge of the sand table suddenly transformed into a verdant green, enveloping Chun Zhu and the summoned beasts he commanded. Lu Yu's expression darkened. These plants possess the cunning to conceal themselves and launch ambushes. This must be the camouflage orchestrated by the Earth Lizard. Brother Yu, I'll lead a team for rescue. No need. I shall venture there myself. If they dare to deploy such a multitude of plants in the western front, their defenses must be lacking. You know what to do, right? Understood, Brother Yu. However, the Nature Clan is notoriously difficult to deal with, especially with the Earth Lizard's assistance. It may prove formidable. Rest assured, I will make those lizards aware that even if they prefix their name with Earth, they are still merely lizards. With a swift motion of his hand, the Thunderbone dragon materialized from thin air. Lu Yu mounted the dragon's head and soared westward. Bamboo, hold your position. I shall return shortly. Brother Yu, you're back? Ha ha ha, splendid. Moments later, Lu Yu appeared in the skies above the western front. Gazing down, he beheld a vast ocean of green. Within this sea, several earthy-hued figures scuttled swiftly. Earth lizards, 1/3 tier, a dozen second tier, and hundreds of first tier. It was evident that they were manipulating the soil to assist the plants in their movement. Master, allow me to unleash a bolt of lightning to obliterate them all. The Thunderbone dragon disdainfully surveyed the scene below. Having completed its fourth evolution, it had yet to engage in battle, and now it was eager to prove itself. Do not intervene. I prefer that too many do not learn of your fourth evolution. You are my greatest trump card. Understood, Master. But there are so many ground rodents. Do not worry. Lu Yu waved his hand once more, summoning a colossal dragon to the side of the Thunderbone dragon. The Earth Dragon was the first to voluntarily align itself with Lu Yu. Master, below are a horde of blind little lizards. Teach them a lesson. At your command. Chapter 435. The Earth Dragon bowed respectfully to Lu Yu, then cast its gaze upon the group of lizards below, its eyes reflecting unmistakable disdain. The most venomous insult to a dragon is to refer to it as a lizard. Now, witnessing the true lizards, the dragon's contempt was palpable. With a gentle flap of its wings, the Earth Dragon descended, stirring a tempest. The Earth lizards, still fervently burrowing into the soil, trembled at once. They instinctively sensed a pressure that transcended mere life forms. With a mighty roar, the Earth Dragon unleashed its fury, causing sand and stones to whirl, and the ground to fracture. All the Earth lizards that had been crawling through the earth were compelled to emerge from their hiding places. The plants reliant on the movement of the soil abruptly ceased their motions, many uprooted entirely. The three-transformation Earth lizard was struck with alarm, questioning its own soil control abilities, which it knew were insufficient to achieve such an effect unless the Earth Dragon descended. Upon raising its gaze skyward, it was stunned to behold an actual Earth Dragon. Wasn't it said that the Abyss Summoner wielded merely 2 skeletal dragons? Damn it! Had I known, I would have never come. The Earth Lizard cursed vehemently. Though it too was of the 3-transformation tier, it found itself at the mercy of the natural dominance of the Earth Dragon's race. Resolute in its decision, the Earth Lizard recognized its lack of prospects for victory and disregarded the lower-tier companions accompanying it, plunging itself into the soil and turning to flee. Attempting to escape? The Earth Dragon could keenly perceive even the slightest shift within the earth beneath it. The frantic flight of a 3-transformation Earth Lizard would undoubtedly not elude its awareness. It flapped its wings, descending rapidly in pursuit of the fleeing figure. The Earth Lizard sensed impending doom. It could feel the weight of ancestral oppression looming above. Instinctively, it sought to burrow deeper into the earth to evade the Earth Dragon's chase. However, contrary to its intentions, the more it attempted to sink, the more it found itself rising. The surrounding soil was entirely beyond its control, as if the very ground sought to forsake it. Damn it. The Earth Lizard roared in rage, yet was utterly helpless. It was not the only 3-transformation creature capable of traversing racial barriers. Another similar entity existed. Yet, confident in its ability to escape, it had volunteered itself. It had assumed that should it falter, it could swiftly retreat underground, evading detection. To this end, it had even inquired about the ace summoning beast in Qing Jiu's possession, ensuring the absence of the Earth Dragon before engaging in battle. They had even orchestrated this ambush against the human race. But why? Why did Lu Yu possess more than just 2 skeletal dragons? Why was there an additional dragon? And an Earth Dragon at that? As the Earth Lizard felt its body begin to detach from the soil, desperation surged within. So what if it meant death? Even in demise, it would bite off one of your wings, transforming you into a lizard too. With a sudden leap, the Earth Lizard opened its maw, aiming to bite the right wing of the Earth Dragon. The Earth Dragon angled its body slightly, opening its own massive jaws, unleashing a torrent of dragon breath. The violent energy surged forth, coursing through the Earth Lizard's gaping mouth and penetrating its entire being. The Earth Lizard's vitality plummeted drastically, a single breath leaving it severely weakened. Its body began to descend helplessly, and before it could return to the ground, a sharp earth spike erupted from below. The body of the Earth Lizard was pierced from below, its vitality extinguished, transforming into a beam of light that soared into Lu Yu's summoning space. A roar erupted as the Earth Dragon bellowed once more, causing spikes of earth to jut up from the ground. Each spike bore the lifeless form of an Earth Lizard. Hundreds of Earth Lizards perished, with none escaping, all entering Lu Yu's realm of summoning. Ha ha, Brother Yu is incredible, Shenju exclaimed. The flora, deprived of the Earth Lizards, had become mere targets, vulnerable to attacks. Fireballs from the mages danced through the air, a sea of flames engulfing Chunju's thousands of plants, reducing them to ash in an instant. Lu Yu summoned the Earth Lizard, which obediently bowed its head before him. How many of you have arrived? How many are third transformation? Reporting to Master, approximately 1,000 from the Beast Clan have come, the majority being of my lineage, with only myself among the third transformation. It replied. So, there are scarcely any Earth Lizards left within the Nature Tribe? Indeed, Master. Good. Lu Yu felt a wave of relief. The plants were now densely clustered and unable to move, effectively saving time. He promptly sent a message to Wuxing. I have completed my task. The plants are now essentially immobile. Understood, Brother Yu. Moments later, a thunderous roar of the Great Wall Cannon echoed from the front line. Lu Yu summoned all the Earth Lizards and plants. Bamboo, I leave them to you. All right, Brother Yu. The Nature Tribe faced 2 significant challenges, a fear of fire and immobility. Beyond that, their combat prowess was undoubtedly formidable. With the addition of these Earth Lizards, the plant's vulnerabilities were immediately halved. The combination of Earth Lizard and plant would soon become a trump card in Lu Yu's hands. Chunju commanded the entire legion toward the Nature Tribe. Meanwhile, Lu Yu soared into the sky atop several dragons, heading toward the most concentrated area of artillery fire. With the arrival of the Little Vulture, Lu Yu's need for experience points surged. The cultivation value of this giant was undeniably high, yet it was currently only at the 2nd transformation, rendering it ineffective. It was imperative to elevate it to the 3rd transformation swiftly. Lu Yu's purpose was to harvest the wounded. The plants annihilated by the Great Wall Cannon offered no experience, for dragons circled in the sky, unleashing torrents of dragon breath. Claiming the remnants below, Lu Yu's experience bar ascended rapidly, and within half a day, he reached level 95. The various plants arriving from afar were entirely dealt with. Wuxing was organizing a cleanup of the battlefield, searching for seeds from these plants. As Lu Yu descended from the sky, a general clad in armor approached him. You must be Qing Jiu. His Majesty entrusted me to convey his regards. This character is NPC, the foremost general under Zhu Hongwu, named Tang Shang. General Tang. It is a pleasure to finally meet you, Lu Yu said as he cupped his hands in greeting. In this operation against the Nature Tribe, the human race has mobilized its forces entirely. Aside from the necessary defensive units, all remaining combat power has been dispatched without reservation. Whether NPC or player, everyone has devoted themselves with utmost fervor to this annihilation war against the Nature Tribe. Chapter 436. The Rift. Your Majesty entrusted me with this. I must personally deliver it into your hands, Tang Shang stated, retrieving a leather map from his bosom. As the map unfurled, it revealed the territories of various races. The Nature Tribe had been marked as part of the human realm, with 2/3 of its area already under human control. This map bore an uncanny resemblance to the one Lu Yu had seen in the palace, its value self-evident. Zhu Hongwu had initially instructed Tang Shang to present this map to Lu Yu at the earliest opportunity. With this map in hand, they would have a clear objective, enabling them to identify areas yet to be controlled by the human race and make appropriate deployments. However, upon reaching the main camp of the Abyssal Lord, Tang Shang was informed that Qing Jiu had already departed. Reluctantly, he had to clutch this map, anxiously waiting for 3 days. Should this information fall into the hands of the other races, it would spell disaster. Consequently, Tang Shang dared not leave the camp. He had entrusted his legion to his deputy while he remained in the Abyssal Lord's encampment, awaiting his return. Now that this hot potato had finally been handed over, Tang Shang could breathe a sigh of relief. The confinement he had endured in the camp was unbearable, and with the safe transfer of the map, he could now lead his men into battle with confidence. Thank you, General Tang, Lu Yu said, carefully examining the map. Although it did not display the distribution of the nature tribe, the areas not yet under human control provided a rough estimate of their whereabouts. Lu Yu snapped a photo of the map and sent it to the group chat, which had been established previously with Li Wei, Du Guohua, and others. Qingjiu, why didn't you present this sooner? We had to search high and low for it, Li Wei expressed with mild reproach. The main force of the nature tribe had consistently been countered by the Abyssal Lord, while the human alliance dealt only with lesser adversaries. Over the past few days, players joining the battle had, on average, gained 45 levels. The number of earth lizards was limited, only capable of assisting higher-level plants in their movements. The lower-level plants remained vulnerable to the onslaught. Furthermore, with the departure of the higher-level plants, the players of the human alliance could unleash their full potential. Now, the time spent searching for plants even exceeded that spent defeating them, significantly diminishing their leveling efficiency. With this map in hand, the areas already under control no longer require searching. We shall focus solely on seeking targets in the unclaimed regions. Directorly, I have just acquired this tool. From now on, I will update the map every hour, and you may act according to the markings indicated. Excellent. This time, our human race can truly hold its head high. I have also heard that you have summoned 2 additional dragon companions. Your news travels swiftly, directorly. It is not my news that spreads quickly. Rather, it is the world channel that has already disseminated this information. With players releasing images and videos of you commanding for dragons simultaneously, Li Wei is subtly cautioning Lu Yu to conceal his strength and not reveal his true capabilities to the alien races. However, Lu Yu's current prowess no longer necessitates such discretion. The thunderous bone dragon has reached its 4th transformation, and its appearance alone does not betray its power. As for other aspects of its strength, Lu Yu has intentionally displayed them. He wants those lurking alien races to witness that the true Abyss Summoner has returned and has grown formidable. This serves as a deterrent. To subdue one's foes without battle is the wisest strategy. Should all medium-sized races choose to ally with humanity, as the dwarves have. Even if the racial barriers were to shatter now, Lu Yu would possess the confidence to confront the 4 great races. Naturally, any alien race wishing to ally with humanity now will not receive the same favorable treatment as the dwarves did. The pioneers must always enjoy certain privileges. As humanity begins to rise, the conditions offered to newly allied races will inevitably decline. It is predictable that the longer such matters are postponed, the worse the terms will become. When humanity has fully ascended, any who dare stand against them will serve as examples of folly. Nevertheless, there will inevitably be numerous races reluctant to align with humanity. The 4 great races are formidable in terms of overall strength. Any single race among them remains superior to humanity. Those races that have long depended on the 4 have been awed by their might, making it difficult to shift allegiances. Lu Yu seeks only those races that are already discontent with the 4 and are indecisive in their loyalties. With the earth lizards decimated, the defenses erected by the natural race have been breached. What was meant to hinder humanity's advance has inadvertently facilitated the complete annihilation of the natural race's upper echelon. For the next 3 days, Lu Yu did not venture elsewhere but remained stationed at the camp. With his war sand table and the racial map, he could clearly observe the battlefield situation and provide the latest updates to all factions. Since the slaughter of the earth lizards, the 4 great races have ceased to offer any assistance to the natural race. They have tacitly accepted the reality of the natural race's impending obliteration by humanity. In truth, even if they wish to intervene again, they lack the strength to do so. Those capable of crossing racial barriers have already perished at Lu Yu's hands. The Beastmen may still have some forces yet to be dispatched, but upon learning that Lu Yu possesses 4 colossal dragons, they have chosen to retreat. The primary reason the Beastmen rank at the bottom among the 4 great races is their susceptibility to bloodline suppression. Both the dragons and the golden crows inflict additional damage upon them. Unfortunately for the Beastmen, Lu Yu's formidable combat strength predominantly comprises these dragons and golden crows. If all 4 races were to act in unison, the Beastmen might seize an opportunity to strike. However, facing Lu Yu alone is a prospect they would never entertain, as it would be tantamount to delivering themselves into the jaws of defeat. Brother Yu, we have now secured 95 of the territory of the nature tribe. The remaining areas merely require a cleanup operation. Lu Yu nodded. Within just 7 days, he had obliterated an entire race. Although this race was among the most vulnerable in the Abyss, such a feat remains commendable. One must not grow complacent in the final moments, lest they fall prey to a last-ditch counterattack from the other races. Fear not, Brother Yu, for this time we have truly struck gold. Crack. Boom. Just as the conversation of peace began to unfold, a cacophony erupted throughout the cosmos. The sound did not emanate from any single direction, but rather from all corners, as if the very fabric of the universe were on the verge of shattering. On the racial map, the formerly distinct barriers between tribes now appeared riddled with countless fissures. Chapter 437. Shock. The racial barrier is about to shatter? Lu Yu was taken aback. Since entering the Abyss, he had never encountered anything so astonishing. He felt his heart skip a beat. Lu Yu had witnessed the fracturing of racial barriers before, and what was unfolding now mirrored that experience perfectly. First, the sky was adorned with cracks, Then it erupted in a thunderous collapse, akin to a glass dome being smashed with a single blow. How could the racial barrier break before the abyss even descended? The crux of the matter is that the human race is ill-prepared. Currently, the four great races eye the humans with predatory intent, while the smaller tribes observe from the sidelines. The racial barrier is humanity's greatest bulwark, as long as it stands. There is ample time for the humans to grow and challenge the four great races. However, if the barrier were to shatter now, the four races would undoubtedly descend upon the humans like vultures. Those tribes that were merely observing or had even allied with humanity would swiftly change their allegiance. The plan for the Dragon Domain's Great Wall would dissolve into mere fantasy. Presently, the human race is far too feeble, despite the widespread calls for human resurgence. As of now, all of humanity's elite combat strength resides solely within Liu Yu. Apart from him, there exists virtually no one of the second transition. The mainstream players have only just reached level 60, a feat achieved due to the massive experience gained from annihilating the nature tribe. Otherwise, reaching level 60 would require at least another fortnight. Brother Yu, what has transpired? In the presence of Yu He, an atmosphere of tranquility enveloped the scene. Yet it evoked an instinctive chill within anyone who bore witness. Those who have endured an earthquake know that, in such moments, no individual can conceal their inner turmoil. Some may feign composure while others succumb to utter chaos. The shattering of racial barriers carries an even greater weight of intimidation than an earthquake. Particularly disconcerting for Yu He was the sight of Liu Yu, typically a paragon of steadiness, unable to mask his facial expressions in this moment. This revelation deeply unsettled Yu He. The sound of shattering persisted for over a minute before it eventually subsided. Liu Yu fixated on the racial map in his hand, where the lines denoting the racial barriers lay in disarray. Fortunately, they had not been entirely obliterated. Liu Yu exhaled in relief. Thank goodness. He regained his composure and returned to his seat. Brother Yu? Yu He tentatively called out to Liu Yu. Liu Yu nodded. Currently, the situation remains within our control. But our time is limited. You must expedite the cleanup of the battlefield and ensure the complete domination of the natural tribe's territory. Understood. I will attend to it immediately. Observing Liu Yu's return to his usual demeanor, Yu He felt reassured. As long as Brother Yu deemed the situation manageable, there was no cause for alarm. Within the World Channel, an uproar erupted among countless players. What just transpired? The tremor felt as though the very heavens and earth were on the verge of splitting apart. I survived that devastating earthquake, yet what I just experienced was even more terrifying. Is the Abyss about to unveil a new dungeon? Or has the game entered a new storyline? Who knows? There hasn't been any update notification. Are you still treating this as a game? Have you not noticed how strange the world has become since the emergence of the Abyss? Finally, someone voiced this concern, and I share that sentiment. Logically, given our current technological capabilities, we should not be able to create such an immersive simulation. Moreover, despite the Abyss being available for an extended period and boasting over 100 million players, no company has come forward to claim ownership of it. Nor does it possess an official website or customer service. Furthermore, our richest magnate, Old Master Du Guohua, has invested his entire life's work into the Abyss. Not just him, but increasingly more prominent figures have shifted their focus towards it. I have always harbored a suspicion. Could everything within this game ultimately manifest into reality? Had you expressed that half a month ago, I would have undoubtedly mocked you for your fanciful notions, yet now, I find myself uncertain. If that were indeed the case, might what we just witnessed be a portent of the game's incursion into reality? The World Channel buzzed with the chatter of players, and a growing number began to question the authenticity of the Abyss. Liu Yu let out a slight sigh. The recent rupture of the barrier has left an indelible shock upon us. The descent of the Abyss is set to accelerate. Qingjiu, what transpired just now? Do you possess any clarity on the matter? In the chat group, Li Wei posed the question that was on everyone's mind. They had all gleaned information through various channels, yet none could elucidate the specifics. The only one likely to possess the details is Liu Yu, the Abyss Summoner. The sound we heard was a consequence of the racial barrier's rupture, although it has not yet disintegrated entirely. A rupture in the racial barrier? Was it not stated that it would only shatter after the Abyss had fully descended? How has this process advanced so swiftly? Li Wei was taken aback. He understood that his knowledge was second only to Liu Yu's, and in certain respects, he had even acquired more intelligence. Thus, the news of the barrier's rupture astonished him. I too cannot fathom why it has occurred prematurely. For now, we can only be grateful that it has not completely shattered. Nevertheless, the situation remains grim. The rupture of the racial barrier will inevitably facilitate the ingress and egress of various races. In the future, our human territories may see an influx of foreign entities, and we must prepare ourselves in advance. Liu Yu articulated his conjecture. Just days prior, they had rejoiced at having nearly eradicated all foreign beings capable of traversing the racial barrier, believing humanity could now develop without fear of treachery. Yet, merely a few days have passed, and new complications have arisen. I understand. I shall discreetly convey this matter within the human alliance. Qingjiu, you must also exercise caution. Li Wei spoke earnestly. In times like these, Liu Yu's role becomes increasingly crucial. There must be no room for error. Rest assured, Director Li, I am fully aware of the situation. Closing the chat window, Liu Yu sat in the camp, gazing at the fissures on the racial map. The racial barrier is a construct of the abyss, and the emergence of these cracks undoubtedly indicates some issue within the abyss. I must seek the abyss forthwith. Lu Yu summoned the small abyss. Take me to your mother. He was direct. The small abyss was momentarily taken aback, her expression turning mournful. Master, you are asking for my demise. Upon seeing my mother, she could easily eliminate me within moments. If you do not take me to her, I shall take your life right now. Chapter 438. A meeting with the abyss. Lu Yu's resolve was unwavering. This was no ordinary matter. The abyss's troubles pertain to all races, including humanity. Without clarity, he would remain in a state of trepidation. Therefore, it was imperative that he meet the abyss. The small abyss fell silent, recognizing the irrefutable tone in Lu Yu's voice. Having accompanied him for some time, she understood that once her master had made up his mind, he would not waver. Even if she were to utter more words at this moment, it would bear no fruit. Yet, still clinging to a glimmer of hope, she dared to ask softly, Master, are you truly not reconsidering? Lu Yu shot a glare at the little abyss, who immediately fell silent and, in response, expanded its form to unveil a passageway. Lu Yu stepped inside. Unlike the previous instances where he would swiftly reach the exit, this passage was extraordinarily lengthy. After several minutes of walking, the end remained elusive. Just as Lu Yu began to ponder whether the little abyss was playing tricks on him, a voice suddenly resonated. Abyss Summoner, you have finally taken the initiative to seek me out. This marks our second encounter, does it not? Before Lu Yu lay an expanse of nothingness, yet he could sense the abyss was near. Indeed, it was their second meeting. The first occurring while confronting the son of the underworld. The racial barrier has fractured. Have you encountered some dilemma? Lu Yu inquired straightforwardly. This was the matter he most wished to comprehend, the reason behind the breach of the racial barrier. A brief silence ensued before the abyss spoke. My power is waning. Unable to sustain the racial barrier with the same vigor as before, leading to its fissures. This can significantly alleviate my burden. Your power is diminishing? Upon hearing this revelation, Lu Yu was perplexed. He had never before heard that the abyss's strength could weaken. Everything within the abyss contributed to its energy, and the abyss itself possessed immense reserves. It is worth noting that all projections require the abyss for support. Just as humans experience aging and mortality, so do I. After so many years, my lifespan too approaches its end. However, rest assured, I shall strive to maintain the racial barrier. Until the final day arrives, I will not allow it to vanish. The abyss's response took Lu Yu by surprise. The abyss nearing the end of its existence? If you were to descend upon the human race early, would it extend your lifespan? Lu Yu inquired. If the abyss could persist a while longer after absorbing the human race, it would be the most favorable outcome. Faced with the choice between delaying the abyss's arrival and preserving the racial barrier, Lu Yu opted for the latter. The existence of the racial barrier was what truly influenced the development of the human race. The abyss would eventually descend. If it encountered no issues, the later it came, the better. Yet in reality, circumstances had shifted, necessitating adjustments in many aspects. I have plans for the human race. I trust you can sense my unique sentiments towards them. The abyss continued. Lu Yu nodded. Without such feelings, how could the racial barrier be maintained under these circumstances? The primary beneficiaries of this barrier are indeed the humans. By the way, how is my inept child faring under your care? The abyss suddenly shifted the topic, bringing up the little abyss. She, fortunately, spends her days indulging in eating and sleeping, embodying a spirit of rebellion. To be frank, I hesitate to allow her to mature. Thus she retains the appearance she had upon hatching. However, I suspect she has secretly amassed some energy. Haha, truly the Abyss Summoner. I thought you were oblivious. Yet you have discerned certain truths. It is beyond my control. This child is quite worrisome. If I do not remain vigilant, she may very well turn against me one day. When conversing with the Abyss, Lu Yu is able to open his heart. There is no other reason. Should this Abyss wish him harm, it need only take trivial actions to achieve that aim. Abyss Summoner, did you know? The physique of my Abyss kin can be controlled at will. I had my suspicions. Yet, you may not fathom the extent of energy currently amassed within my child. What do you mean? Each time she assists you in fortifying, the price she offers is nearly double the actual energy required. Lu Yu was taken aback, suspecting that the little Abyss was pocketing a kickback. This little creature has several times opened a passage without consuming summoned beasts to replenish energy. Nonetheless, Lu Yu tacitly accepted this arrangement. To ensure the horse runs well, one must provide it with fodder. If the little Abyss were to gain nothing, Lu Yu would worry she might not perform her duties diligently. No one is a fool, and no one willingly works for free. Even the little Abyss would not accept such terms. However, Lu Yu did not anticipate that this rebellious child was so cunning as to charge herself double the price. In other words, the energy within her is exceedingly vast. Then she is finished. I shall deal with her when I return. Every race has its destiny. And my Abyss kin is no exception. She believes I intend to consume her, but which mother would devour her own child without providing her with motivation? How could she grow swiftly? Now, Abyss Summoner, you may depart. Rest assured, I shan't perish anytime soon. Lu Yu remained still for a moment before asking. I have a question. Speak. The energy within the little Abyss cannot be transferred to you, correct? The Abyss fell silent. In other words, when the little abyss matures, it will coincide with your demise, at which point she will succeed you as the new abyss. Silence reigned once more. After a brief pause, the abyss summoner urged, "Return now. Fissures have appeared in the racial barrier, and humanity will face considerable troubles. They still require you." This time, without waiting for Lu Yu to respond, the passage beneath his feet began to retreat swiftly, and in the blink of an eye, he was back at the camp. The little abyss trembled in fear. Upon seeing Lu Yu emerge, she finally relaxed. He had returned, and she had sustained no harm, indicating that her mother had no intention of consuming her this time. Was it because she was not yet plump enough? Or had her mother been delayed by some other matter? Regardless of the reasons, I must seize the time to grow. Only by becoming as formidable as my mother will I avoid being devoured. No, I must gather more energy without delay. The next time I quote a price, I will attempt to triple it. As Little Abyss contemplated this, she suddenly felt a chill sweep through her body. Raising her head, she found Lu Yu observing her with a gaze filled with ulterior motives. Chapter 439. Subduing Little Abyss. Come here, Little Abyss, let us converse. Lu Yu beckoned her with a friendly wave. Yet, to Little Abyss, that waving arm resembled a sinister claw poised to strangle her. Caught in a dilemma, she hesitated. "It's all right, come closer. I won't harm you," he coaxed, and reluctantly, Little Abyss approached him. "Little Abyss, what do you think of me? My master has bestowed upon me immense kindness, akin to that of a second parent, for which I am at a loss to repay." Little Abyss endeavored to employ the fullest extent of her vocabulary. "That is quite an exaggeration, but at the very least, I have not wronged you, have I? Remember, when you first hatched, you tried to consume me twice, yet I spared you and even occasionally provided you with sustenance. I have turned a blind eye to your clandestine indulgence and kickbacks. I have shown you a considerable degree of leniency, have I not?" Little Abyss nodded vigorously. "My master has truly," her words faltered suddenly. "Kickbacks? How could he possibly know about that? Is he deceiving me? Master, I am wronged. You are my most esteemed master. How could I ever betray you in such a manner? Indeed, you did not betray me. You partook before my very eyes." Lu Yu's expression shifted to one of sternness. "You are rather clever. From the very beginning, you misled me with your size fluctuations, making me believe that upon absorbing energy, your body would enlarge, correct?" Little Abyss fell silent, her mind racing. How did he discover that? I thought I was being discreet. I should not have exposed myself. Is there a flaw in my strategy? Or is this merely a test? If I remain tight-lipped, perhaps I can evade this crisis. Master, I truly am wronged. Look at my mother. She possesses the energy of all races, which is why her form is so grand. My size is indeed influenced by energy absorption. Lu Yu's face broke into a faint smile. "Are you still not convinced? Do you still believe I am deceiving you? Let me ask you this. When you fled from the undead clan a few days ago, you clearly did not absorb any energy. Yet you were able to open the portal. Why was that? Fine, I admit to the kickbacks, but you have previously overlooked my transgressions. Would you truly execute me this time?" As he spoke, Lu Yu opened Little Abyss's panel, and his finger glided ominously over the word erase. Seeing this, Little Abyss gasped in alarm. Master, I was mistaken. I have indeed discreetly retained a modicum of energy. I implore you to spare me. I promise I shall not repeat my transgressions." "A modicum? How much is that?" "Approximately 1% each time." Lu Yu gazed at the Little Abyss with a mocking expression. Even now, this rebellious wretch was still desperately clinging to life. "Is it merely 1%? Does that not seem a tad insufficient?" Upon witnessing Lu Yu's countenance, the Little Abyss gritted her teeth and continued, "In truth, it is 1/10. 1/10. Lu Yu's finger inched closer to the obliteration option. No. In reality, I always leave behind 1/3. The Little Abyss was nearly in tears from desperation. Good heavens. If the Abyss had already revealed her secrets to Lu Yu, he might genuinely believe that 1/3 was the ultimate limit. Who would have thought this rebellious wretch was so greedy? On the brink of death, she still persisted in her obstinacy. "Nonsense. You consume half of the kickback each time. Do not think I am unaware," Lu Yu exclaimed angrily. The Little Abyss was taken aback. "How did he know I always leave half behind? It's over, I'm truly doomed." Tears welled in her eyes. She could see the unwavering certainty in Lu Yu's demeanor, indicating that he had a clear grasp of the actual figures. Further deceit would be utterly futile. She hastily sought mercy, hoping to preserve her wretched life. Master, I was wrong, truly wrong. I only feared being devoured by my mother, which compelled me to absorb energy fervently to become stronger. Master, I beseech you, consider my prior submission of the Abyss assassin and spare me. I shall never again entertain ulterior motives. I will do as you command." The Little Abyss lamented frantically. She was genuinely terrified, having feared death since childhood. Her fear only intensified as she grew stronger. Lu Yu snorted coldly. "This shall be your final reprieve. Should you dare to play any tricks before me again, do not blame me. No matter how useful you may be, I shall not keep an insubordinate creature by my side. Do you comprehend?" I understand. The Little Abyss hurriedly replied, relieved to have salvaged her life. The act of pilfering kickbacks was her greatest secret, a secret now easily unveiled, and she would likely refrain from any further trickery henceforth. Lu Yu cast a sidelong glance at her, and summoned the still quivering little abyss back into the summoning space. It seemed this rebellious wretch had been subdued for the time being. It was time to attend to more pressing matters. The racial barrier had shattered, and surely the various factions had yet to fully comprehend the implications. However, it would not be long before various probes would follow. After the rupture of the racial barrier, many who previously could not traverse it would be able to cross the fissures and enter foreign realms. Moreover, this crossing would occur without the need for a nefarious map. Although the majority may still be obstructed by barriers, the number of individuals able to traverse them has undoubtedly seen a significant increase compared to before. This is no trivial matter. The four major races can entirely breach the racial barriers and infiltrate the human realm, posing a threat to the safety of humanity. Furthermore, should any of the fourth-tier beings happen to be among those capable of crossing these barriers, the level of danger would escalate dramatically. This situation necessitates immediate action. Have we concluded the battlefield cleanup? Almost finished, replied Hugo. The war simulation indicates we have secured 99 of the territory. Lu Yu nodded and then opened a group chat. Director Li, Brother Hua, the racial barrier has fractured, allowing the other races to directly enter the human realm. This is a delicate matter. I propose we convene at the primary city to discuss with Zhu Hongwu how to proceed. I share your sentiments. The stakes are immense. The forum has reported that new high-level monsters have appeared at the borders of Sunset City, likely having crossed the racial barriers. We must act swiftly. Let's go now. Agreed. We shall meet at the palace of the primary city in 1 hour. Lu Yu closed the chat window, delegating subsequent matters to the untroubled and Qinzhu. He instructed them to return to the abyssal territory with the Abyss Lord's forces after finishing the battlefield cleanup, gathering resources in preparation for the impending major conflict. Once he had given all his instructions, Lu Yu summoned the Little Abyss, utilizing the Dwarven race as a springboard, and directly arrived at Zhu Hongwu's Grand Hall. Chapter 440. The matter is resolved with such ease inside the Grand Hall. Only Zhu Hongwu was present. Lu Yu's arrival did not surprise him. Instead, he remarked, "You arrived later than I anticipated. I sought to uncover the truth of certain matters. You met with the Abyss?" Lu Yu nodded. "Indeed, the privileges of an abyssal summoner. Did you unearth any valuable information?" The racial barrier will not completely shatter in the short term. Lu Yu revealed what he deemed to be the least of the secrets. Zhu Hongwu visibly relaxed. The worst-case scenario would not unfold. The fracture of the racial barrier was a matter of life and death for every race. Just moments ago, Li Wei informed me that he would soon seek me out. I have also summoned the 4 city lords, and they shall arrive shortly. Please find yourself a seat in the meantime. Li Wei was indeed able to establish direct contact with Zhu Hongwu, which did not surprise Lu Yu. The information held by the authorities far exceeded that of an ordinary player. Had Lu Yu not been able to converse directly with the Abyss, his information would certainly pale in comparison to that of the officials. Minutes later, Li Wei, Ji Chao, Du Guohua, and others entered the Grand Hall. After a while, the lords of the 4 secondary cities arrived, with Sun Hanyu prominently among them. Now, the highest echelons of humanity had gathered within this Grand Hall. Everyone instinctively took their seats, with Zhu Hongwu seated at the center of the assembly. You are all already aware of the situation. I have just communicated with Qinzhu regarding the latest developments. The racial barrier will not experience any further alterations in the short term. Thus we need not contemplate the most dire scenarios. Lu Yu nodded in acknowledgement. Li Wei cast a reproachful glance at Lu Yu, lamenting the lack of prior notification in the group regarding such a significant update. His office secretary had already begun drafting a mobilization order for all personnel, should the racial barrier completely shatter, to immediately call all players into a state of readiness. However, it appears that matters have not escalated to that extent. What we must now deliberate upon is how to confront the impending crisis. Even if the foreign races cannot mount a large-scale invasion, those that manage to infiltrate will certainly not be insignificant in number. We must devise a strategy that ensures the continued development of humanity while minimizing the destructive impact of these foreign entities. Please do not regard me as an emperor. Let us consider ourselves as comrades striving for the same cause. Recently, I encountered a profound statement from a great figure. This world is yours, as well as ours. But ultimately, it belongs to you. The abyss will inevitably descend, and I shall become a relic of the past. The future of humanity rests upon your shoulders. Let us share our thoughts. At this moment, Zhu Hongwu embodies not the role of an emperor, but rather that of a pioneer exploring the revival of humanity. I have an idea. Perhaps we could construct a great wall along the borders of humanity to deter any encroaching foreign races, suggested Deng Xian, the lord of Sunset City. The presence of foreign entities has already been noted within Sunset City. Although he has issued extermination orders, their efficacy has been rather lackluster. Building a great wall? It may already be too late for that. Many in the assembly nodded in agreement. If such a structure could be erected immediately, it would undoubtedly prove invaluable. Yet, with the racial barrier already fractured, the feasibility of constructing a great wall is questionable. The extensive length of humanity's borders is not a project that could be completed in merely a year or two. Regarding the Great Wall, I believe we should contemplate whether to continue the Dragon Domain Great Wall initiative. This statement was proposed by Zhu Hongwu himself. Upon utterance, a heavy silence fell over the room, as all present were already aware of the Dragon Domain Great Wall plan. had the racial barrier remained intact. This initiative would undoubtedly hold immense value. However, I feel that we must not abandon the Dragon Domain Great Wall plan, articulated Lu Yu. The racial barrier has merely fractured, not vanished entirely. We can still adhere to our original strategy, gradually eroding the resolve of those foreign races unwilling to submit. Yet, if we allocate forces to assault the foreign races, will not other races seize the opportunity to launch a surprise attack on our homeland? Song Qingyan expressed his concerns. This indeed poses a question worthy of consideration. Lu Yu continued, stating, in our offensives against the foreign races, we may encounter two scenarios. One, as mentioned by Lord Song, where the foreign races take advantage of our weakened state to raid our territory. Another possibility is that the foreign tribes unite to thwart our Dragon Domain Great Wall project. Lord Song believes that among these two scenarios, which is more likely? Naturally, it is the first. As long as the foreign tribes are not foolish, they will undoubtedly choose to undermine us from within. Lu Yu nodded in agreement, stating, Lord Song makes a valid point. However, you seem to have overlooked a crucial variable. A variable? Indeed, this variable is I, the Abyss Summoner. If I were to undertake the Dragon Domain Great Wall project alone, where do you think the foreign tribes would concentrate their efforts? This question left everyone in silence. Those who had previously supported Song Qingyan in their hearts now found their attitudes shifting dramatically. Everyone was acutely aware of the value of the Abyss Summoner and understood that the foreign tribes would consider him a primary target. If Qingjiu were to execute the Dragon Domain Great Wall project alone, the foreign tribes would undoubtedly direct their main forces against him. This is far too perilous. I cannot agree to this. Without a doubt, the one voicing this concern was Lu Yu's mentor, Sun Hanyu, facing an entire foreign tribe alone. What if something were to go awry? Mentor, while others may underestimate my strength, you are well aware of it, are you not? Upon hearing Lu Yu's words, Sun Hanyu suddenly recalled something and fell silent. With the presence of the minor abyss and the four-turn Thunderbone dragon, it would not be so easy to perish. Zhu Hongwu smiled slightly. Then it is settled. Qingjiu will carry out the Dragon Domain Great Wall project alone, while the others shall focus on enhancing their strength. But do not let your guard down. Starting today, I will lift the restrictions on city construction. Anyone with the capability may establish a city. As Zhu Hongwu spoke, he cast a glance at Li Wei, who nodded in agreement. What was once perceived as a formidable dilemma was now effortlessly resolved by Lu Yu. Consequently, although the human realm would still face threats, the intensity would undoubtedly diminish significantly. Additionally, the territories of the Nature Clan lack a central city. If left unmonitored, they could easily become strongholds for the foreign tribes. I propose establishing a new secondary main city there. As for the city lord, Li Wei glanced at Lu Yu, prompting the attention of the others. Qingjiu, dear brother, your Abyss Lord's domain has expanded to over 500,000 inhabitants, has it not? Surely, the Abyss cannot accommodate so many. Would you desire to develop in a more expansive territory? Chapter 441, Allocation. Relocation? Lu Yu surveyed the gazes directed toward him. Are they suggesting that I build a city within the Nature Clan's territory? That is indeed the implication. Zhu Hongwu added, you are aware of my circumstances. Governing a primary main city along with 3 subordinate secondary main cities is essentially my limit. Without my capabilities, even the construction of Juyi City would not have been feasible. Li Wei concurred. Among the players, that is to say, us newcomers, only your Abyss Lord possesses such an ability. Very well. Yet I require support in the form of resources. Lu Yu did not hesitate. The situation among the human race was rather intricate, and there was no time for excessive politeness. When it comes to the capability of establishing a secondary main city for the entire human race, only he, Lu Yu, possessed such potential. As for resource support, it is a simple matter. Just provide a list of your needs, and we shall gather together. Without a moment's delay, Lu Yu enumerated the essentials required for the establishment of the gathering city. Given that it was a secondary main city, a spring was imperative, and it could not be a rudimentary version akin to that found in the abyssal territories. Furthermore, the materials for the teleportation array, as well as the stones required for construction, were plentiful. It was inconceivable for a single main city to supply these materials alone. Even with the combined efforts of 5 main cities, it would still prove to be a considerable challenge. Fortunately, some of the most critical items were indeed available. The only significant complication lay with the Elven Spring. This resource, which was highly restricted throughout the Abyss, was something even Zhu Hongwu could not procure. Yet, the Elven Spring was a primary material for constructing the water source. Could a secondary main city truly be deemed such without a spring? Qingjiu, it seems you must personally visit the Elven race, Zhu Hongwu stated with a tone of regret. After all, he was the lord of a primary main city, theoretically overseeing the entire human faction. The fact that the human race aspired to establish a new secondary main city but struggled to gather even the most basic materials was indeed difficult to articulate. Very well. I have an idea. All eyes turned toward Lu Yu. His previous suggestion had directly alleviated the predicament faced by the human race. Thus, everyone regarded the thoughts of this youngest abyssal summoner with great seriousness. Might we consider directly targeting the Elven race as the next objective for the Dragon Domain Great Wall? As soon as these words were uttered, silence enveloped the room. To designate the Elven race as the next target for the Dragon Domain Great Wall was tantamount to declaring an intention to annihilate them or compel them to yield entirely to humanity. Was this not somewhat reckless? The Elven race was not merely a natural clan. Although their numbers were few, each individual possessed formidable strength. Additionally, they were guardians of the Fountain of Life, boasting remarkable regenerative abilities. Even if one were to slay them, Lu Yu smiled faintly. If they are killed, they will simply become my summoned beasts. For others, the Fountain of Life posed a significant challenge, yet for him, it was a non-issue. A hush fell over the gathering. Indeed, those slain by an abyssal summoner could not simply resurrect unharmed at the original location. Moreover, my suggestion to first subdue the Elven race is also predicated on the valuable Fountain of Life in their possession. Esteemed colleagues, the Dragon Domain Great Wall plan aims to gradually reclaim the territories of foreign races. Having conquered the lands of the natural clan, we must establish a main city to fortify our hold. Should we not require similar measures after seizing lands from other races? To establish a primary city, one must procure a Fountain of Life. Rather than repeatedly seeking the Elven tribe, it would be more prudent to subdue them directly. The assembly, deep in thought, nodded in agreement. Qing Jiu demonstrated a level of contemplation that surpassed even that of the present lords. The shattering of racial barriers left these lords preoccupied, each focused on preserving their cities and territories. While this is commendable, Lu Yu's aspirations leaned toward expansion and conquest. This divergence in thought, stemming from a shared position, was dictated by strength and past experiences. Lu Yu had genuinely endured the horrors of tribal warfare. The brutality of such conflict was not merely the result of a few cannon blasts from the Nature Clan that could obliterate an entire race. From the war, he derived a crucial conclusion. The battlefield must never be set within one's own territory. If conflict is inevitable, it should be waged on enemy grounds. I have another query. Song Qingyan interjected. We may have conquered considerable territory, yet we lack the strength to defend it. Although the number of newcomers is substantial, their levels are woefully inadequate. The mainstream players have reached level 60, yet the average level of all players barely hovers around 20 or 30, many not even having achieved their first-class advancement. Should we place them in newly acquired lands, they would merely serve as targets if an enemy were to strike. As the largest contingent of players resided in Lingfeng City, Song Qingyan spoke with authority on this matter. His observations were indeed accurate. As more players entered the abyss, the average player level continued to decline. Exiting the novice village had become more accessible, yet the majority of players had only recently joined, resulting in low levels for those who entered after the initial day of the abyss's launch. Currently, all players were confined to the limited second-tier cities, and in the event of an invasion, the presence of high-level players obscured the disadvantages posed by the low average level. However, once players began to disperse, this disadvantage would be magnified exponentially. Before Lu Yu could respond, Sun Hanyu spoke up. It seems that Lord Song has overlooked the greatest characteristic of the Abyss Summoners. Song Qingyan paused, taken aback. The matter of manpower is the simplest to resolve. With each race I conquer, a multitude of its members will become my summoned beasts. At that point, I need only to have them assist in defending the city, and the issue will be resolved. He patted his head, chuckling at his own overthinking. Zhu Hongwu surveyed the assembly and inquired, "Is there anyone else with further questions?" Everyone shook their heads. "Very well. Return and prepare accordingly. I will allocate the materials needed for city construction shortly. Additionally, I must emphasize that Qing Jiu's execution of the Dragon Domain Great Wall plan is merely a means to buy us time. We cannot afford to be complacent. Return now and devise every possible strategy to ready our forces for battle. The racial barriers shall inevitably shatter one day, and it is only then that the true war will commence. Do you understand?" "I understand." Zhu Hongwu then turned to Li Wei. "Old Li, you players are no different. The future still hinges on your actions. Rest assured, the expansion of territory and the revival of our race is inscribed in our very DNA. Very well. As for the fine wine, let us agree to meet in 3 days. In 3 days, I shall incorporate the Elven race into the human domain." Agreed. Chapter 442, Arrogance. The omen of imminent danger. As the crowd dispersed, Lu Yu returned to the abyssal territory. The unyielding faction had successfully unified all members under the Abyssal Lord. Li Wei claimed that the Abyssal Lord had amassed a scale of 500,000 individuals, which seemed somewhat unrealistic. The main alliance of the Abyssal Lord and its 3 sub-alliances had already reached level 5, fully staffed with 100,000 members. Collectively, these 4 alliances comprised 400,000. When including the sub-alliances and various external personnel, there were no fewer than 600,000 to 700,000 individuals, all the while the Abyssal Lord intentionally restrained growth. Reluctant to expand rapidly, should the Abyssal Lord loosen its criteria, it could effortlessly muster an army of 1 million. However, having a large number of individuals is not necessarily advantageous. Often, admitting individuals of varying qualities into the Abyssal Lord could not only fail to bolster its strength, but could also prove counterproductive. Regulating the size of the Abyssal Lord has been a point of emphasis for Lu Yu in discussions with Unyielding. In Lu Yu's view, 1 main alliance and 3 sub-alliances would suffice. Yet, the overwhelming desire to join the Abyssal Lord made outright rejection impractical, as it would breed animosity among players. Thus, unyielding established sub-alliances beneath the main alliance. At this moment, hundreds of thousands were crowded within the Abyssal territory. This marked the first occasion the Abyssal Lord gathered everyone together. Even during the recent confrontation with the nature race, Unyielding had only pooled the strength of the main alliance, while the sub-alliances fought independently. Lu Yu arrived at the teleportation array, where Unyielding and others had been waiting. They were privy to the truths of the abyss. Thus, the shattering of racial barriers was a momentous shock for them. Unyielding also understood that Lu Yu's recent endeavors had been purposeful, and his return signified that the higher-ups had arranged the forthcoming matters. Brother Yu, how did it go? The Abyssal territory will have one sub-alliance station to maintain normal activities and level up, but we must bolster defenses to prevent small enemy incursions. The rest must mobilize to the lands of the nature race, which has now officially been incorporated into the human domain. We need to establish a secondary main city there. Build a secondary main city? Everyone gasped in astonishment. A secondary main city is no mere territory. The resources and manpower required are astronomical. If it were not for Sun Hanyu's profound familial heritage, the establishment of the Alliance City would have remained an elusive dream. The majority of resources necessary for the construction would be provided in phases by the major cities, and I shall devise a means to secure the manpower required. So you need not worry on that front. Your sole responsibility is to ensure the safety of the main city until its completion. As one who has ventured into the lands of the Nature Clan, you shall determine the site for the main city. With a grin, Yishuwu remarked, Brother Yu, I have already identified the ideal location. Initially, I hoped to establish a domain for our Abyss Lord there, but unexpectedly, it has presented us with the opportunity to construct a secondary main city. Yishuwu, adept at managing hundreds of thousands of clansmen with meticulous organization, was no simpleton. Otherwise, Lu Yu would not have entrusted the governance of the Abyss Lord to him. He is, after all, the young leader of the Champion Alliance, revitalizing it. Brother Yu, does this imply you will not accompany us? Chen Zhu inquired, voicing his concern. I must continue to execute the Dragon Domain Great Wall plan. Lu Yu explained the essence of the initiative. Impressive as always, facing an entire race single-handedly, Yishuwu remarked. This predicament was unavoidable. I shall take all the long wall cannons with me, but Duan Shuchen and others will remain with you. The production of the long wall cannons must not cease, as they are formidable weapons for both siege and defense. Are you intending to work me to the bone? Duan Shuchen and Wu Tianju approached, rubbing their aching waists. After battling the Nature Clan, they had emerged from the depths of the abyss, a place devoid of light, and prolonged stay there would surely drive anyone to madness. Lu Yu offered an apologetic smile. The two elderly men had been working tirelessly for several days without respite, and now he expected them to continue laboring, which felt rather unreasonable. Youngster, I acknowledge the urgency of the situation, but the rupture of the racial barrier is not entirely detrimental. For instance, after the barrier's collapse, our dwarven clan will have greater access to the human clan, making the transportation of ores significantly easier. Additionally, I have prioritized the production of AKs. Their assembly is straightforward and does not require our direct involvement, thereby enhancing the combat prowess of the human clan considerably. Lu Yu was greatly pleased to hear this. However, I must express a word of caution. Your safety is paramount. Should you perish, the human clan may find themselves waiting for centuries for another like you. Duan Shuchen's expression turned serious. I understand. Rest assured, the ones capable of ending my life have yet to emerge. Do not be complacent, Duan Shuchen advised. Glancing at Wu Tianju, let us proceed. Let us take a moment to rest first. We should at least find something to eat, for I am on the verge of starvation. Indeed, we must eat something. This lad refuses to pay us, yet we cannot be deprived of our meals. The two elderly gentlemen bantered as they ventured into the castle in search of sustenance. Lu Yu found himself both amused and exasperated. These two old men were undoubtedly his most reliable supply officers. All right, prepare yourselves. Let us commence our mission. Pure-hearted youth and dreamy Jiangnan, accompany me to the elven tribe. The rest of you, I entrust entirely to you. Remain unperturbed. Understood. Long live my brother. Initially, Lu Yu had not intended to bring the two young ladies along. Yet a few words from Duan Shuchen prompted a change of heart. Ever since the Thunderbone Dragon underwent its fourth transformation, he had indeed become somewhat inflated with pride. Arrogance, he recognized, was a harbinger of peril. Thus, upon receiving this reminder, Lu Yu immediately set about rectifying his mindset. Taking along the pure-hearted youth and dreamy Jiangnan was the most prudent choice. One possessed high output and stealth, while the other excelled in recovery and healing. Their presence would significantly enhance their survival capabilities within the elven tribe. Lu Yu first sent a message to the giant tribe, signaling that it was time to employ their services. City building was the forte of this colossal and immensely powerful race. Subsequently, Lu Yu summoned the abyssal portal, determining the coordinates of the elven tribe, which he had acquired from Sun Hanyu. As the passage opened, its exit revealed a secluded cave. With 3 days remaining until Zhu Hongwu's mobile race barrier moved, Lu Yu aimed to uncover the intricacies of the elven tribe within this time frame. This was a most enigmatic race, with scant information available to the outside world. Chapter 443. The Elven Tribe. The Elven Tribe was indeed exceptional, flourishing with verdant grass and vibrant life. As the three emerged from the cave, the sight before them resembled a realm of wonder. Wherever the fountain of life nourished the land, it stood apart from the rest. Lu Yu was suddenly reminded of the Death River within the realm of the Underworld tribe, where the desolation starkly contrasted with the vitality surrounding them here. Our objective is to conquer the entire Elven tribe. For now, let us focus on gathering intelligence about this race. At the very least, we must secure a complete map. The map provided by Sun Hanyu depicted only a small segment of the Elven territory, specifically the area surrounding the Elven tree, which housed the densest population of elves. Lu Yu had no intention of engaging in any overt interactions with the Elven tribe, nor did he wish to visit the Great Tree. Ideally, he would complete his task